Welcome back to the Unfortunate Sons, session 23.5. Session 24 has been put on pause due to our friend Dom being without internet and therefore without a spirit to inhabit their body. Last time we left off with this party, they had traveled to the city of King's End, having managed to ditch their contract with the oh shoot, God, it's been so long now. What even was the contract called? The road contract you guys all had. I forgot what I called that off the top of my head. It literally has just been that long. I do apologize. But after having managed to get out of your expedition, that was the word I'm looking for. Having managed to get out of the expedition, you lot headed towards King's End and spent some time heading around town, learning a bit about the supposed tomb, as well as seeing, kind of shopping around the town itself and gathering some items to prepare to fight the creatures. However, after meeting with Og, and though half the party would split off to go read, Ned still kind of going about town shopping amongst himself, the rest of the party, mostly in this case Kez, would take Og's advice, finding out about a church from his god in town and heading that direction. While Eider and Dom continued doing some research on the tomb and anything about the tomb, as well as a few of the other items on the quest board that they had found, the party would eventually come together, heading back over towards the church after Kez would end up suspecting the pastor, the priest, who, as he would find out, was a druid and not a actual priest in its own right, or a cleric. After a little bit of looking around, snooping, Keznok would find himself with more questions than answers, and more of a theory that this individual, Lagrosa, the kobold druid, was not who he was speaking to be. Though, once Eider and Dom managed to show up, the three of them joined and met with Lagrosa, finding out about Dom's father and the horrid situation that happened to him, as well as learning about a interesting bit of lore of this Lagrosa fella and his religious interests. Though, as we come back, the party, concerned, looked around them as they look over the table of the dead father of Dom, Flokvi, I believe was his name. No. Shoot, I don't remember. I know Dom has it written down. It doesn't matter to the rest of you. But as you all kind of stand around looking at this table, you watch as kind of eyeing Lagrosa warily for a second as he puts himself almost near the stairs going back up into the temple. The far end, you see the doors themselves for the outside cellars or stairway that you had entered through. The rest of the room kind of dusty and filled with bits and bobs, a couple of shelves with jars and such. As you look about, and as you do, Lagrosa seems to kind of catching the atmosphere, begins to cast and waves his wand and goes, "Bibbidi Bobbidi!" and then speaks in a strange tongue as you hear it. And as he does, I need a will save from Ned, Keznok, and Eider. Ned, I know you're not there. There's a reason for it. Don't worry. Let's give them will saves and see if we can survive today.
Alright. I have a strange feeling that none of us should be able to pass this, but we'll see what happens here.
Awful roll, 15.
15, that does fail.
13.
All right.
Like I might could eat this, but I don't think I should.
I will say this does seem to be a divine magic, and you're not sure what the spell is, so you're not sure how high level this could be or what this individual is fully casting. The first two words, either, even without even without knowledge or con, you're almost 100% sure we're not part of the actual spell.
You don't fucking say.
Kes, what'd you get?
That is a 21.
21, almost succeeded actually.
Oh,
you are one off, which you might want to make note of for the next when you guys come back.
My +9 to my will. No, it wasn't enough.
As Dom also looks up, and you all see as you for a moment Kez, you're the only one able to kind of hold on for a second, feeling your holy symbol begin to glow. A smile on Lagrossa's face as he looks over, his hood pulling up, as he begins to chant in a strange language, and you see a dark circle begin to illuminate around the room. You see across from you, Dom's eyes kind of roll back and then drop, and then as you aren't able to turn your head before you lose consciousness, you hear Eider's body drop, as you do as well. Somewhere in the middle of the street, where Sprungus and Frungus are hanging out, a Ned drops as well. Go ahead, Kez, sorry.
But before I pass out, oh, for fuck's sake!
That's the thing. Ned's
Ned's
grabbed...
only thought as he passes out is, well, I'm used to sleeping in the streets.
As the Goslings and Ned are dragged out the side of the streets by Sprungus, as the two of them look at Ned, considering the heat may have been the issue. But as all four of the party members pass out unconscious, you find yourselves suddenly being teleported around in this blue light, flashing all around individually by yourselves. And as you do, Kez, you find yourself pulled almost, your consciousness feeling as if it's being pulled away for a second. The world around you seemingly melding. As you feel your body, your soul being pulled, you find yourself now sitting in a dark, black, smoky room, in a single... almost slightly uncomfortable wooden chair that seems to be just small enough to where your ass doesn't fully fit on it, like it's been designed to keep you paying attention and uncomfortable. As you kind of find yourself sitting there, your armor all on your right, you see Eider, tied and gagged, himself completely blind, but not seemingly moving, his head kind of drooped down. To your left, Ned, who's not tied at all, but looks to be just kind of lightly snoring with his head drooped. And Dom, who also looks to be slightly tied up, gagged, their eyes wide open and glaring in defiance. As you look around for a moment, nothing happens, Kez.
Ned is doing that very cartoonish, like,
As it kind of seems to get louder as Ned gets deeper into his sleep.
So, am I also bound?
You are not, as you look down at your body, but for some reason you are unable to get up, as if your legs seem to be almost numb.
Huh. Eder, wake the fuck up.
As you kind of try and jab at Eider, you don't feel anything yourself. You currently seeing a beautiful forge in front of you, your family laughing, drinking, other snowbeards seemingly enjoying your craft, telling you stories about their glorious adventures, hearing about your glorious adventures as you get handed ale by a topless snow dwarf female that seems to be just holding large buckets of ale herself, as she hands you one walking off.
I didn't know snow doors had hooters.
But as a little smile goes across Eider's face as he's unconscious, Kez, you for a second think that he's like playing, like he's asleep, but as you kind of jab him a few more times, he doesn't seem to wake up and doesn't seem to move.
Dom, you active?
Dom kind of looks over at you with panic, and their eyes, like they look to be, you can hear them moving around their chair as if they're trying to get up.
Ned?
Ned is out cold. Ned, you are sitting in a grove of trees, a waterfall off to your side. The goslings playing in the water as they throw water up in the air, squirting one another. Other animals that seem to have kind of joined around you, lions, tigers, bears, oh my, hootie, kind of sitting on your shoulder, relaxing. You find yourself in a tranquil and at peace place. It's almost like perfection.
you just see a, big old grin across Ned's sleeping face.
As you look over, you see his Ned, and then goes back to loudly snoring in the background. As he smiles. Kez, as you look about more, the room starts to kind of formulate into what looks to be a almost old Victorian black painted room. Little bits of silver lining the walls, blackened and purple flowers that are painted into it to almost give it a little bit of pop of color. A large piano off to the corner of the room that seems to almost give an eerie but calming music as it begins to play. An old, wizened looking fire giant sits there. A long gray or white hair that seems to kind of just go all the way down to her stomach. A very refined dress that seems to accentuate the little bit of cleavage she still seems to have that hasn't completely drooped down, though much of her body seems to be, or much of the dress seems to be more to complement with her skin color of the pasty whiteness. Her eyes almost dark black as she looks over at you with two little gold dots that seem to kind of float almost in the empty voids. Kez, as you look over, you can't help but feel almost guilt for something you've done, like as if a child having been told by his mother that they were disappointed in him or them. You feel this strange emotion overcome you for a moment as the music then starts to change slightly to a more joyful tune. And as the woman kind of stands up, you hear her crack her back. The long flowing darkened black dress seemingly now kind of giving a light vibrant glow as she stands up, its color kind of morphing as it does. She suddenly pulls a cane from the other side of the piano and begins to walk over to you as she kind of slowly does. The smell of old person and fresh baked chocolate chip cookies begins to kind of fill the room, which is a foreign smell to most of you. A few that can suddenly smell it in their paradise. A scent that is very pleasing to the nostrils. But as she gets closer, she looks at you, Kez, and goes, "Young Kesnanok, it is not often that one of mine manages to get chosen for such a deed, but I could think of no better a potential champion than my dearest and most beloved son.
Yeah, I saw this one coming. No, this was me as Hunter saying that.
I have been tasked by those at the highest rank of power with investigating the intentions of those who have taken power down below. Power that could unseat and unravel even the magics of the world itself. And so, my young son, I have a trial for you. But I should warn, this mission does not come without the chance of your life being put on the line. If you die in this scenario, you will die out there. You will not return to your mortal body. But if you don't take this quest, I'm sorry to say that your time, as well as with your friends, as she kind of like waves her hand out in front of the others, who suddenly turn to a grimace of pain, though to them nothing seems to change. To you, Kez, as you see, they look as if their bodies are starting to degrade and rot. The flesh slowly falling apart from the bones, eyes falling out of the socket, hair drooping away and falling out. And as she kind of does this, she aims to each of them, she looks back at you and goes, "So, my young and potentially future champion, do you wish to be my chosen? Do you wish to take on a chance that no other mortal would normally be willing to do and put your soul on the line?"
My duty is to carry out your will.
A good son always does what his mother asks, it's true, but I wish to know the truth of you. I want to know if you are willing. As I ask this, not of you as your god, but as a caring individual who wishes to see your life not smitten out, and as this is the only chance that you will get with the gods above to be given this opportunity. Are you sure, my son, that you wish to put your life on the line? Allow me to show you what you will be seeing down there before you decide. As she kind of rubs around a ball of crystal, um, she kind of looks at you and goes, "Would you like your friends to join you in your decision, or do you feel at ease with making this speaking for them?"
Wake him up.
She nods at that and goes, "Well, your language will be something you need to work on if you wish to be my champion, young man."
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
Yes.
I will
Yes, ma'am.
do so this one time, as every son has his moments. And I am asking you to do a deed that is putting your life and your eternal damnation on the line. She kind of waves a finger. Ned and Ida, you are pulled out from this dreamlike state of paradise and suddenly find yourself looking in this room. Kind of looking about, you see the darkened walls, the silver inlay, the purple flowers, this old wizened figure in this beautiful black dress that seems to be kind of slightly hunched over with long white hair. She stands about the same size as a fire giant, so either she's still slightly towering over you as she looks on to each of you after you, as you wake up. Good.
As I jerk awake, I'm like, cannonball! Howdy.
I just look devastated. It's just like, happy family, like surrounded by his family and everything like that. And then,
So, pleasant dreams, everyone.
Well, I was jumping off a waterfall, and now and I like look around at the room.
See in the dark black room.
I'm here.
Well, the mother is going to show us what we are about to embark upon.
what kind of a bead do I get off of ye olden lady? Actually,
are you using detect alignment?
well, detect evil because I don't
Detect
have
evil.
like anything but evil.
Let me pull up my notes.
It's gonna be real fucking awkward.
Ned? Oh, you were going to say something as well, so I'm looking this up.
Ned's just like looking very confused back at the lady and then at Kez. Like, I don't really know what's going on.
As you kind of take a second to get a beat on her, hearing Ned say that, she is not evil.
Woohoo! I guess like based off like Apocrypha, does this like seem like the actual thing? Not at all to discredit Kez's knowledge of his own goddess, but we have been duped before in the very recent past.
Give me a knowledge religion for what you know of the religious text.
33.
33. El Ugbo is typically depicted as one of three versions. A young and beautiful courtesan, typically her race varies depending on the individual, of course, who comes in a very blackened dress and has a blackened raven or a crow on her shoulder, typically. But she is unusually pale white and typically comes off as almost too smooth talking when she speaks, known for her black lipstick and her darkened eyes, and where there is a single light of gold in the center, almost like a void, is the one calling card of the three the three different viewings of her. The second is an old wizened crone who's known to appear very commonly in swamplands, cloaked heavily, carrying a long cane, typically of bones or parts of creatures and such hanging from it, almost like a shaman-like individual. And the third is typically of an old noblewoman, typically most depicted as eloquent, very musically inclined, and very kind to speak, but affirmative, like almost like an old religious nun when it comes to her viewings. But all three share the same blackened holes with the golden eye in their design and depictions in the books that you'd know of.
Gotcha. Is there any specific significance to like which guise she takes, or is it just kind of seemingly at her whim?
It seems to be based on the individual who follows her, and what seems to be most needed or most notedly common as a driving force to those who view her or follow her. The case of the old crone is typically amongst those who are druidic. The young courtesan is typically amongst those who are noble, and the older nobility is typically around those who have either a very strong sense of king and country or a very strong familiar bond. So like a family influence.
Got it. Well, I guess I've learned something about Kez today.
She kind of looks about all of you though as Ned says this, and and looks about and goes, my young sons, please understand that Kesnanok here has asked that you all hear this option. This decision is for all of you to make, for it could damn your souls. But before you see what I'm going to show you, allow me to explain that regardless of what you decide here today, each of you are dead. You have been killed. That creature you saw, that kobold, he took your lives in an instant using ancient demonic magics. I'm offering, in exchange for doing this mission, a token of mine to not only give you back your lives, but to prevent this spell from taking it once more. It will only work once for each of you, but assuming you manage to not just make a life decision around hunting powerful demonic worshippers, I think we should be able to come to some sort of accord. Do you understand all of this, the four of you, as she kind of looks about each of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm not usually one for, holy symbols, but I guess in this case I do appreciate it. And I am okay, especially if it helps Kez.
Not much of a choice. It's either die now or, well, die in a...
Or die later.
Yeah.
Right.
He kind of nods at that and kind of gives a light smile, and she goes, "Young Ned, it will not be to the holy symbol as if you are one of my worshippers. This is a talisman of sorts that will keep you from being killed in an instant, rather instead. You would not, if you were looked upon, they would not assume you are any more associated with me than the goat that you may worship or a tree that you may worship out of just pure interest. They would just sense that it's divine in nature." She kind of holds up a glowing piece of papyrus with a symbol or a couple of strange symbols on it that look to be an abyssal.
Nature is just how I like it, and I suppose I'll take it.
She smiles at that. As you reach out, you watch as the talisman vanishes into smoke, and she goes, "Oh, no, not only after you've done my request. Let's not get handsy now before the job is done."
I
Now,
appreciate the gumption of Ned. Cash up front, lady.
she kind of lets Ned retract his hand after a moment as she increases the crystal ball size and goes, "What you are about to see is a creature so terrifying. It turns the last remnants of the begotten age, the age of, well, death of divinity, as many of us would have called it. It took a creature from that era, a creature that was managed to eat gods of high ranking, and tear them down, and it turned it into mush. I've not seen a ferocity of such a thing from a creature before." As he kind of she kind of begins to wave her hands, the crystal ball expanding out and begins to show you. Levitos, would you like to explain what Shaw looks like?
Oh, god damn it.
Just a quick depiction of your own wording, so I don't miss anything here.
Shaw is a nightmarish, in like the truest form. It's like the base creature that Chal is what's called. Doesn't matter what it's called. It's a spider demon, which is carapace laden, spiked, and like purplish in color. From that, Chal has far too many limbs. Each one like tipped with claws, at like very upsetting angles. He's twisted and deformed in just god awful ways, and has an upsetting amount of fur on top of all of it.
Hairy spiders, everyone's favorite. As you watch this creature, he's sitting in a darkened throne, tearing apart a long, snake-like creature that looks to be mixed up of 1,000 demonic bodies, and just seems to be tearing pieces off of it and then pulling it into its grotesque mouth as blood kind of splatters out, some brownish, some blackish as it does so. A few what looks to be pit fiend-like creatures kind of seem to almost be off to the sides of this large, massive spider-like creature, completely pinned against the wall by large rocks and torn apart as if they were shredded in an instant. No bites or anything, though, taken out of them. As Ugbo kind of continues, or the old lady continues to show you this, or the old noble, she kind of continues and goes, his name... the name you will know him as is Demon Lord Shawl. He killed the dying king, and we need to know what this creature's interests are, his plans. Unfortunately, he's not the type to write down his thoughts or create or make his demands known. We need you all to go in and listen to his mad yellings, discussions with himself, and hear what he has to say. Once you're able to deem what his plans are, I will bring you back, and at that point, I will bring you back to the material plane as promised. But not before, and not until. There is a single teleportation circle you can also activate, but I will warn you that if you use this will permanently trap your souls to Abaddon, which means that if you die, you're not going to go to Paradise or Moors. You will go to Abaddon and be forced to endure the chaos that it is. She kind of looks about each of you, kind of waiting to see or make sure that point is kind of driven home with each of you, as she continues and goes.
So don't use the portal.
Yes.
Got it.
Otherwise, all the creatures of there you are welcome to speak with. I will warn, many of them will be able to see you and will try to make offers for your souls. Soul coins are what is of currency there, but I give you this advice. I have also been informed that a guide will be meeting you at the entrance, as another party was interested in your soul, or a soul amongst the four of you. Ned, she kind of looks over at you, Ned, for a second and goes, you are to meet with this one known as the Life Mage. And she kind of looks at you, expecting... The
Life Mage.
Yeah, expecting, almost as if expecting you to know what this means.
Okay.
She nods and goes, you can give me a knowledge religion or knowledge arcana, or you could try a knowledge nature.
Well, I'll go knowledge nature.
Okay.
I would, but I don't think I'm in a position to have access to that knowledge to begin with.
29, nat 20.
Shit, Ned.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so your grove, Ned, a little bit of history that you would know about it. The grove that you come from, Rebirth, I believe it was, is the name. Yes, Rebirth. Has been founded somewhere around like 35, maybe 40 times in its history. Constantly breaking apart, either from members dying or getting too old, or the groves just disappearing altogether. New members would come together, reform, and learning about the ancient magics, and would reclaim the name. Supposedly, one of the first members of this grove, and the founder of the Grove of Rebirth, was a member of the House of Closen, by the name of Light. Some called them the Lady of Light, some called them the Lord of Light. No relation to Game of Thrones. As you kind of take a moment to think, they were supposedly the member of or the first founding member of House Closen as well, and were the ones who created this grove in the capital city. Some believe that this grove is what keeps the very powerful fiendish energy in the center of the city locked away. Others believe that the individual is the one who created the pact magic that House Closen has been gifted with. As many of those who came after her in your grove would become grove leaders, were able to use similar pact magic.
The Lord of Light.
She kind of looks at you for a moment and she goes, "Well, Lady would be the name I would use these days, as she doesn't go by Lord anymore. Um, Luvia, the life mage of House Closen, will be your contact. She mentioned and told me she had an interest in you. I will be also sending Dom somewhere else, but their mission will be separate from the three of yours. I do not care how you gather this information or who does it, but one of you will go into the castle and will listen in and hear out what this individual has to say. When you hear what Shaw's plans are, where he plans to go, what he plans to do, then, and only then will I bring you out. Has everything been made clear?"
Small
Yes,
question. What if he doesn't have any plans?
That in its own right is a plan. And she just kind of looks at you expectingly.
It's kind of like nod. This is like, all right, good enough. Just wanted to make sure we weren't expecting to have an answer if there wasn't one.
An answer can be gleaned by anything, and anything can be gleaned as an answer. It's a simple wisdom of the gods. It's what separates us you mortals from us. I truly expected a bit more from someone of noble birth. It's seemingly that nobles have fallen off a bit in these past few hundred years. With that, though, I must ask. I've given you your understanding. I have explained the terms. This mission, I cannot explain further the great challenge that this will put to you all, and the understanding that there is no magic that will save you if you get into a fight in these situations. I cannot save you. You are on your own and of your own accord while you are there.
I am ready for this task. My mother. How about you, gentlemen?
I mean, we don't really have a choice.
As ready as I can be.
Ader, you always have a choice.
It's an illusory one. It's death or not death. And I choose not death.
Still a choice.
It's like you have a choice to like take a breath if you like are drowning.
She kind of smiles at that and goes, "My dear boy Eider, in truth, most of mortals' life until you become gods and break away from the chains that is the material plane, don't have any choice but death now or death later. That's what all they break down to. Use that wisdom, and it'll come in handy in the end days when your time comes." She kind of gives you a creepy wink at that, and you all feel as your bodies immediately drop through a hole in the ground. Thank you. Kez Nanaka is part goofy for anybody who wondered. I'll give you a +1 to any smell checks or search or spot checks that are related to smell for that.
Thank you.
As you all fall to the continuously fall in the chair around, or the chair that you were sitting in seems to fall and disintegrate apart, breaking into bits of wood and then into ash as it floats above you. The ropes and the gags kind of breaking apart. And as you all find yourself falling through this blackened abyss, Dom seems to vanish into a shadow off to the side completely, as the last thing you see is their hand grasping out, trying to grab onto Ned, as they're being pulled and sucked into the shadow to the side of them. But as you all come back to see the blackness fade away, the shadows dissipate, the dark skies above you begin to show as you see the purple skies kind of crackle with lightning. The city of 1,000 cities, or rather the city of 100 worlds, lies out in front of you as you stand at the gateway of it. A massive skull with what looks to be 2 demonic horns that must go at least 6 stories height, in the horns themselves. The skull almost twice that in size. Massive towers and walls off to the side with strange carvings of beasts that none of you have ever seen before, seemingly depicted as artistic designs into the wall itself. Behind you and all around you, you see just nothing but a blackened dirt on the ground. You can hear the sounds of what sounds like water, kind of almost like a beach hitting the water hitting the sound and running up the side of the land. But as you look about, you see no water. As a few moments go by, as you're kind of standing there, the heavy, thick iron, or what looks to be iron gates, kind of still set down into the ground. The skull nut opened up. You wait a moment, kind of looking about awkwardly, trying to get a bearing on where you are for a second, looking to see if you see Dom. And then the gates begin to creak open from the distance, about 1/4 mile down the road from you. As it kind of continues to creak open, you see... well, let me find the picture I was sent. There we go. Thank you. You see a creature that looks to be almost like a large fly at first in the distance. But as it gets closer, you begin to see its ugly yellow-like body with black spots on its back. Its almost spider-like face with a armored carapace on the head or around the head and 2 little legs kind of coming out of it. I feel massive legs on the side of its body that end in like vulture-like claws, and then a stinger that looks to be almost a meaty, fleshy claw in its own right that sticks out of the back end of it and kind of moves at its own will, like a cat's tail, grotesquely. The sounds of the flesh and bone grinding slightly against each other as this creature comes flying over to you, making a loud whooshing sound as its wings kind of take flight and keep it above, as it seems to have to flap quite a bit to keep in the air.
Hell of a place, eh, boys?
I have never felt like I have belonged somewhere less than right now.
Ned just has this horrified look on his face.
Well, gentlemen, I don't intend on dying here today, but no time like the present, right?
Technically, we already did. Well, not here, but we've already died today.
I will say, as you look at each other, you do notice you're slightly translucent while you're here. Inside, you see a single thick yellow stick, like creature. At the bottom, looks to kind of almost look like a mop head of meat and liquid, kind of glooped together. That kind of seems to float inside the center of your translucentness.
Well, onwards and forwards, as they always say.
As the creature
marching forward.
Yeah, as you take a step forward, the creature gets within distance, within about 30 feet of you, and kind of comes to a stop, kind of flapping its wings in front of you. As you look at it, it has the word... it has a little what looks to be a piece of papyrus kind of floating down now from its chest that reads guide, and one of its claws seems to have a strange round metal jar-like object kind of strapped to it that reads tips, and you can kind of hear it rattling around as it flaps its wings.
I hold my bucket up very excited.
Oh shit. They're kindred spirits. Game recognizes game. Hey, Ader, you got a soul coin on you?
No, you took all of them, remember?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh shit, well I can't spend them because that damned me forever.
So you wanted me to do it?
Not exactly.
Well, fuck you too.
Listen, I follow a god. I don't know if you do. Then again, I probably should have asked.
Oh, so my soul doesn't matter.
Listen, I don't know the effects on someone who doesn't follow a deity.
As you two kind of arguing about this, the creature shakes
oh,
the metal jar out in front, and a small like blackened gemstone falls out onto the ground. And as you watch, a arcane rune that you've never seen the language of before begins to kind of glow, and a little image of a light spell kind of portrays, almost like a Star Wars projection, as you see this beautiful elven succubi-like woman. Let me pull up something real quick for my own notes so I have her description. Yeah. As you see this almost succubi-like elf-like creature with long white and red robes, two large horns kind of sticking out of her head, ears that point quite far up, long white flowing hair that seems to almost go down to her lower back, kind of swooshes almost unnaturally behind her. Her robes seem to be adorned with gemstones, little bits of pearls, and other such shiny objects that seem to almost glimmer as she stands, and almost an unnatural green magical aura seems to glow around her as this individual appears in a bluish and green light. As she does so, she looks over around to each of the three of you and goes, "Do excuse me, my name is Alluvia of House Closen. I am a member of the 4 factions who rule these lands. I have sent my guide here to bring you wherever you wish, but I do request that at least at some point, Ned, you stop by my personal stronghold so that I may gift you with your the next mission of the Grove of Rebirth. Also, you are quite late. You were supposed to be here 30 years ago."
I got stuck in traffic.
What's traffic?
Time flies when you're having fun, hey Ned.
Sorry, we're going through a tunnel.
I can literally see you all from my stronghold tower. This is a projection magic. This is not some fancy like light spell that makes a recording for you.
Well, if the others may, we'll be there as soon as we can.
I like the sound of that. Please enjoy yourselves while in town. My guide will take you wherever that is not dangerous and will keep you out of areas that will kill you. Hopefully.
Doesn't that mean we're not going anywhere?
Oh, you're smart. You know, the last individual who ruled these territories was very joking. Unfortunately, I have his tongue hung up and stuffed on the wall.
I did mean that literally. It seems like this entire place is just going to kill us.
If you were going to die, you'd already been dead. I wouldn't worry about it. God, you mortals and your soul, and you and with the souls also worried about nothing. The fluttering of the creature's wings seem to pick up as Alluvia turns back and goes, "Yes, guide. If you do your job, I will make sure extra corpses are available for you tonight. Oh, and please don't eat the small one. I don't plan to have him killed yet." As the light dissipates and the rock kind of starts to float back up into the tip jar of the creature.
Just gotta like slowly put a, cool 5 gold piece into the bucket.
As you reach into your coin purse, you find there's nothing in there. The only items that have transferred over with you are your personal magic items as well as soul coins.
Well, fresh out of all that shit then.
You kind of go reaching down, kind of expectantly looking over at the tip jar. If you feel there's no coin in there, no metal, your calorium is all gone. It's empty.
Just like pantomime it into like a scratching. And it's like, well, shit. I don't have much of a preference between delaying the inevitable, because that thing was scary as all hell, or going to see your boss? Question mark? Ned, what the hell is going on?
Ned just kind of ponders in silence for a moment.
Honestly, Ader, to be fair, I don't remember collecting everyone else's soul coins.
Ned, you're
Well-
on mute. As a heads up.
We only ever had the one.
True.
Oh, was it? Oh, then never mind. I thought that we had more for some reason.
Must have stepped away.
No, we only ever had the one that like dropped after Volthana like bamfed.
Give it a minute. Let's give it a second for Ned to return here. I think he stepped away for a sec. Oh no, he's
I'm
back.
here.
Oh, okay, making sure. As Eider kind of looks at you, waiting to see what your answer is, kind of expectantly.
Oh, I must have missed the question then.
Oh, no worries.
Oh, I said I didn't have much of a preference between like delaying the inevitable and going to see your boss? Question mark, and then just asked you point blank. I was like, Ned, what the hell is going on?
Well, that was the first creator of my grove. But other than that, I don't know why we're here. That seems to be a Kez question.
You think? I don't know, man.
I mean, like that one was pretty much open and shut. We died. This is our way out of not being dead.
Yeah.
You getting a personal summons from what I assume is probably like basically a demon lord.
We've seen weirder things happen to us. All right.
No, we
All right.
haven't.
I will say, as you mentioned, Demon Lord, Guide seems to his little tip jar pops out a little book with a picture book, and it says Guide to Abyss, the Abyss Terms, 101.
Like very hesitant. Like, does this look like one of those contracts that are like is going to like steal my soul if I fucking like touch it?
As you look over, it looks like a leather-bound book, and it just again reads, well, the actual terminology, as I have it written, is Demonology and Rankings 101 of the Abaddon.
Oh goddamn.
However, and as you read at the bottom, it says as written by Alluvia of House Closen. As you look at the book, taking a second, it looks to be just a book. You can't tell immediately if this is something. If you open it, it's gonna take your soul. There's nothing that says sign here, so you know.
Gotcha. I'll like look at it with like a little bit of spellcraft to like and see if there's any kind of hidden sorceries.
Okay. Yeah.
Taking care not to like read the words like
All right,
verbatim, but just in case.
Okay.
So I got a question for you, DM.
Mhm.
So when I first made that roll after getting the soul coin and kind of being like, yeah, those who spend these coins pretty much are almost doomed for like to eternal hell or whatever.
Mhm.
Can I infer that using this coin in this man's tip jar is the same thing? I just want to make sure if it counts.
Give me a knowledge religion, we'll say. And what's spellcraft 36? There isn't a single spell on the book besides a very clear spell designed to auto write it for someone who was talking as they were writing it.
Gotcha.
Talk
Right,
about
I begin to borrow
autobiography, am I right?
Yeah, right.
Well, it's because she's like totally in this fucking book, obviously.
22.
22. As you kind of take a second to think, you're unsure. You don't know what the currency or how the currency system works down here. If it's okay to spend the coins, if it's not okay to spend the coins. You're unsure. I will say the tip jar, as you look over at it, does not have any soul coins in it. It just has a bunch of random gems and other doodads in it that kind of seem to rock around inside of it, that seem to almost glimmer as light hits them unnaturally.
So you said the only thing that came with us is like the magical stuff that we have.
Your magical equipment, and then that's it. Yep, and then the soul coins. I will say, Guy does hold out a claw and just start pointing towards what looks to be the tower on the eastern side of the city.
Does anybody have any like cheap magical goods? like I have holy water, but I don't think this guy wants it.
Well, wouldn't do it now.
I also have my cursed bag of holding.
Give him that.
Why would I do that?
Because it's cursed.
I mean, that just seems kind of rude, wouldn't it?
You bought it from a cursed merchant that is a definite dickhead.
Yeah, but I'm not a dickhead. Most of the time.
I mean, it's not like you got it as a favor. You bought it.
Yeah, but I know it's cursed now. Kind of feel like it'd be kind of rude just to give it to someone.
Well, tell him that it's cursed. It'll be fine.
Hey, guide, are you cool with a cursed bag of holding?
You
You
watch.
want me to be blunt?
You can
You want me-
nod.
You want me to be blunt with you? There is not a thought behind those eyes.
You watch as you look over at Guide and kind of mention this, and the creature just continues to kind of jingle its tip jar, and it's as it takes its other claw and points again a little bit more with a bit more motion towards the castle tower or one of the castle towers in the eastern area of the city. But otherwise, does nothing else.
And just kind of start shuffling towards the tower while reading the book.
I follow Eider.
All right.
Listen, I will give this man a scroll of mage armor.
Okay. So you kind of dig deep, kind of pull a scroll out, kind of look at him for a second. Lightly tap it into the jar. That's a little bit, the mouth is just a little bit too small to make it a comfortable fit, so you kind of put a little force into jamming it. But as you kind of finish doing so, kind of pat it a few times and then jog up after Eider and Ned as you do so.
There you go, man.
Yeah, the creature seems to lower the tip jar and just starts flying ahead of you guys lightly or slowly, kind of getting about 10 feet not only in front of you, but above you, and kind of floating away. As you start to get guided into the town, you see the massive city that seems to span for thousands of miles. Even looking from a distance and kind of taking a moment to see where the city looks to be in some areas higher up than others, you still can't see the end of the city itself, as the walls seem to adorn different creatures in their artistic designs and different segments. The city, you can feel every once in a while, seems to give a light rumble and then seems to push out. But as you head down the main road, where you see these large, almost Gothic-like buildings with their spiked roofs, kind of dark blackened stone, kind of basements and outer walls. Some buildings that seem to be almost masked completely in mithril or adamantine bricks. As you kind of walk along the main street of the city, you see on either side of you, coming in from this entrance, you see a bunch of what look to be churches with this goddess-like figure depicted that you recognize pretty quickly as Alluvia herself, in different variations of like pouring water to the sick and dying, giving out food to those who look hungry, handing out coin to those who are begging. The churches themselves, you can hear singing coming from that seems demonic in its sounding, but people inside, you kind of see through the colored glass windows, seem to be happy and cheering. And strangely enough, this is really not what you were expecting when each of you thought of a place that was like an underworld. And given that a creature like Shawl seemingly rules over this territory, it seems quite civil. On the other side of the town, the southern portion, as you look, which is up like on your left as you're walking down this main road, you see massive, what looks to be library like guild or guilds built to hold a large amounts of books. Arcane and divine casters in thick robes walking about as they go throughout the town on their side, staying only onto their side, similarly to those of that are following seem to be going into the churches of Alluvia, seem to stay only on the northern end of the this road or to your right. As those on your left kind of go about, you can see the massive businesses selling books, magic items, all sorts of strange and arcane items that seem to... Some potions that look to be mixed with vileness, others look to be creatures capable of magic. It's strange as they kind of seem to walk about talking and speaking. Almost many of them dressed in a monk-like... or cloaks that look to be matching like monk-like attire. As you continue down the main road, the creature guide kind of takes you past a couple shops that you see as you come to one of the large central fountains that allows you to either turn north, south, east, or west. Each depiction of different sections seem to be looking different, as if different influences control the different sections of this city. But the businesses around this water fountain that you see is first the business of Kisme Axe that you see looks to be a simple kind of run-down smithy, a large forge that has a face and seems to be grimacing as the creature goes about pulling out what looks to be strange bits of metal and hammering into these wicked-looking blades. To the right of them, you see a place called the Rabbit Hole that looks to be on top of a large tavern that's been closed. You're having to kind of go down the stairs. You see, looks and can smell the scents of flowers and other such spices that seem to be coming from it. It looks to be an apothecary. You also see the Black Emporium of Arcanum. That looks to be a magic shop that has been set up off to one of the sides of the town. Much of the building looking to be a large tower that seems to shrink down its door or increase its door in size by those who enter into it, and looks to just go on inside as the door opens for miles, though on the outside looks to only be 30 feet in width. Next is Potent Potables Potions Shop. That seems to be what you immediately recognize as a potion shop in the window. As you can see, the clear vials of liquids bubbling. Those who are walking in and out. Sign out front that reads in both a common and a foreign language that says "Love Potions half off." And as well, pig's feet and pig's blood, 20 soul coins on the vial. As you kind of see that passing by. The other two shops, two shops you see, is the Pen is Mightier, a magic scroll shop that you can, as you pass by, and then Booty Heisters. Yes, you heard that right. What looks to be a general shop as you kind of step by that has like rope, grappling hooks, backpacks, what looks to be rations pre-prepared, watering skins. It looks to be an adventuring gear shop as you kind of pass by it. You also notice there is a Triton that's kind of walking about in there, which to each of you it would be unique, as none of you have ever seen one of these creatures before. But otherwise, as you kind of stop in the center of town, or in the center of this kind of open market, a large water fountain that seems to be spewing this reddish liquid as little kids come over and toss soul coins into it, kind of looking as if they're making a wish or saying something quietly as they close their eyes and kind of clasp their hands and then running off and laughing. Guide kind of stops and flutters over the fountain and just kind of waits there to see if you lot do anything.
This place
Well,
is weird.
gents, yeah.
Also, the fact that little children are playing with soul coins gives me an indescribable amount of trepidation.
Hey, I mean, I guess to them, it's just any other coin, right?
Also, kind of has like an underlying like sense of like they're technically like born evil, and or damned. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack here, and we've got a lot of shit to do. So I'm gonna choose to ignore that for the time being.
I mean,
that
I
in
think
the
if I
trouble
carried
box.
coins around that screamed, I would turn evil at some point too.
Huh. So that's where the term "when in Abaddon" comes from. Do as the Abaddonians do. But I'm not going to be doing that.
I
As
do
you're
like kind of wander near the blacksmith shop to get like a gander at what the hell he's doing to the weapons that he's like just putting metal in.
Yeah, as you kind of start to walk over there, Ned and Kez are kind of following after Ryder. Or are you gonna look around yourselves?
I feel like this is, in many towns, I feel like it's okay to split up for the most part. In this town, not a chance.
As Kez kind of looks
Agreed.
around, looking for Ryder for a second, seeing that he's disappeared, turns, sees him walk over by the smithy, and like starts walking over a little bit more brusquely as he grabs Ned, and Ned kind of follows along, suddenly realizing it. You do hear as you three kind of head over towards the smithy, the sounds of someone kind of walking over with this really weird instrument. It looks to be like almost an accordion-like device made of bones and skin, with faces all kind of in the
Oh my
accordion
God.
part. As he comes over and starts to wind up, you start to hear the sounds of screaming children and cats kind of beginning to play as he gets it into beat, and then this almost homage of screams of pain begin to scream, like urge out and across the entirety of the town as this person starts to play, and this evil-looking, demonic, and monkey-like creature starts dancing for the children, who start tossing soul coins into a cup for him. But as
Yeah, I don't like this place anymore. Not that I didn't like it in the first place, but I feel like it's just really sent it home.
as you kind of stop in front of the thing, look back at that, say that, Kez, and look back at the other two. Serious, man.
I'm unsure if we can, but my urge to kill it is unbelievable.
Let's just move on.
The smithy,
I'd say we not spend much time around here.
fucking something. As you say that, Ned, you see the guide kind of takes a second and kind of seems to look over, tilting its head at you for a moment. And as it does, it kind of points with its back claw once more towards the castle tower, and then flaps its wings, waiting. As you kind of walk into into the smithy, or walk up to
I
the
like
smithy.
his idea.
As you say that, the smithy, who looks over, and you see, at first it looks like a snowbeard, but as it turns around, you see this weird, almost cylindrical-like object or creature that is about 7 feet wide. It's nothing but eyes along this weird cylindrical body, and then these wide legs that stick out, that have hands that kind of poke out at the very end, that look like they're humanoid in the design, that then retract when the legs kind of push back down onto the ground. As the creature kind of looks about at you for a second, and I'm gonna post a picture, don't worry. The creature kind of turns, and you hear in each of your heads, "Good evening, my name is Strand. I assume you lot are new to the Kisme Axe as well as the City of 100 Worlds."
I'm gonna pat Ader on the back.
Ned just goes, nope, and starts walking towards the guy.
Incomprehensible. Have a nice day. I also step outside.
This is all you, Ader. Sorry, man.
Steps outside, steps like 5 feet away from the very open smithy.
Yeah, right.
The forge itself, as you get a closer look at it, you see looks to be this almost demonic-looking forge. A face with spikes, a mouth at where the fire is being belched out of. The metal being pulled out seems to be getting quenched in this blue liquid that, as the metal kind of gets or as he kind of turns and seems to stick the metal into, the liquid screams out as the smoke comes away, and the metal goes from this dark and black to almost lit up with a yellowish coloration to it, that seems to crack through the black metal itself as he begins hammering at it from behind, as as the eyes kind of look towards you, still waiting for a response.
Yeah, like take a couple moments, realize like I'm left on the spot, and then just like I'm left in a social trap, and now I have no great way or easy way out of it. I was like, shit, I was window shopping. I just wanted to see what was going on. Now I gotta talk to people. Fuck. I just after a moment say, yes, we're I suppose just taking in the sights. I noticed the shop and unfamiliar with this manner of smithery.
We? The creature kind of stops for a moment and seems to kind of like tilt the large cylindrical body of its self to the side, looking to where Kez and Ned, who have gone over towards the fountain and are waiting with Guide.
I suppose at this point,
The
as I
creature.
look around and come to the same conclusion.
Man, this ground looks very ground. What do you think, Ned?
The blackened cobblestone underneath your feet.
I'm a little worried it's also gonna grow eyes and start looking at me.
As you say that, one of the cobbles gets up and like legs pluck out of it, and an eyeball kind of like opens up and it looks at you as it starts to walk away.
Hey,
it's a little guy,
What do you?
I just look at Kaz and I go, if I faint, you're gonna need to catch me.
Don't worry, dog. I'm here for you.
Oh, as the creature kind of looks at you once again, Eider, and goes, or Strand continues and goes, mortals cannot understand the terminology we use for smithing. It is the thing of my people that I am doing. This is called chaos smithing. I take the souls of those who have been damned, who have been given up, and those who have been lost to the city itself, and I siphon bits of their emotion and drive them mad, basically tearing portions of their souls from the city to make into my metal weapons. It's what gives them their screaming abilities and allows them to tear the souls and rend them into soul coins.
So your weapons actually make soul coins whenever they kill things.
All weapons should. For what is the point of killing someone if you don't own them afterwards?
Just like involuntarily shudder at like the concept of it.
Doug, I'm not in the right place.
Yeah, just kind of whispers up to Ned.
None of us are.
The creature just kind of looks at you expectingly and goes, "Would you like to have one?"
Air,
of
we
my
got a job
weapons?"
to do. Let's go.
Oh, I've got to go. Sorry.
Your name is Aether. I will remember that.
Fuck you, Kez. Kez Nanok of Clan.
Yeah, clan what? Huh?
See, a couple of the kids have kind of stopped the music and suddenly gone quiet. People are kind of listening to you lot suddenly.
All right. Let's go to that tower. Unless Ned, do you wanna go talk to?
Nope.
You don't wanna go talk to that person?
I think that's where Guide is leading us.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
Okay. As a guide,
At least I think that was what was in the tower.
well, that seems to be where Guide's taking you. I will mention, Eider, as you kind of opened that book, by the way, earlier, and as you're reading that, it does list, it is called the Critical Ranking System. And seems to be on a power scale of 1 to 120. As you see at the very back, there are 6 creatures listed at the 120 plus. And as you read their names, you read the names of Grandpa, the Elder King, Garunga, the Starving, Alluvia, the Life Mage of House Closen, and Leohar, the Knowledgeable, the Dying King, and Shal, the Unkillable.
Well, I guess the Dying King lived up to his name.
As you kind of look through, noting that the Dying King is listed as dead, you also notice that the other creatures, the average creature here seems to be somewhere around a critical ranking of about 20 or 15 to 20, with the average commoner, what they call those who are from the mortal plane and have had their souls set down here, typically on average are somewhere around a rank of 8. And most are skilled individuals who have lost their souls, not just your, I made a bad deal with the wrong dude kind of situation.
I feel like there's like a cheeky introduction page where it's just got like you, and it's just got like a half or some like cheeky value.
Oh, no, as you go to the final page on the back, you do see there is a way, there looks to be a place to put, like, your finger onto, and it says critical ranking above. It looks to have a big box on it, some lines where something normally would be written out but seems to be completely blank.
I think Eider's curious enough to just like thumbprint it.
Hey, Eider, what's the rank of the guy we're searching for?
Just has like a little skull icon. I don't think it has a number.
It does have 120 plus. Just for your own auto game knowledge. But as you take a second, kind of take your glove or your gauntlet off and put your finger onto it, you read critical ranking 6.
Hey, yes, put your thumb
Yo.
here real fast.
No, what's up? What's up?
Put your thumb here real fast.
What you need?
Just right here.
As he holds out a book in front of you with what looks to be a little box that seems to be, like, says, place thumb here in common. And then off to the side, some lines that look to be blank and another big box off to the side of it.
I do that thing that everybody hates, and I lick my thumb before I put it on there.
Kind of leaning over, and as you do this, as Kez is kind of looking at you with a bit of a questioning look, Ned kind of pushes forward. Ned, as you read, it reads, Ned of the House of Closen, last member of the Grove of Rebirth and founder of the next Rebirth line, expected bringer of the end. And then its ranking puts 65.
Ned, what the fuck?
I think it got it wrong.
Ned?
Ned, if you've been sandbagging us this entire fucking time.
Ned, if you're some, like, secret genius, dude, now is the time to say. We kind of feel like this is the time to kick it into high gear.
Because you
Kez, put
suddenly
your head
remember
up
the
and down.
goblin fight, you remember the spider fight, you remember every moment when Ned was not as strong as this is listing him as suddenly, and you're starting to wonder here.
But the bog stick has taken many lives.
Guys, put your finger on this thing right now.
Okay.
Kez, are you taking off your gauntlet as Ned pulls his hand away?
Yeah.
As you do, you feel the wetness from the saliva of Ned, and it fills out Ned's information again.
Is there another page, or is it just that one page?
It is just that one page.
Just wipe it on my mouse.
Huh.
Ned kind of grabs a bit of his toga here, moss, pushes it forward, wipes a little bit of it off, any old lady, kind of licks the moss first, wipes the moss down onto it,
I'm licking it!
rubs
Stop
it around a
licking
few
things!
times, pulls it away, and it's perfectly dry.
Oh.
Oh god, how
That's
did that
weird.
work?
I just tuck it back in too.
Alright, I guess I'll give it a shot now.
As you do, Kez, yours reads, Kesnanok of the last of Ugbo, the first champion and last champion to serve in the First Age, and the one who would watch the splitting. Ranking unknown. Last known ranking 120 plus. Expected ranking system to be updated.
So I'm just some fucking guy.
Listen, dog, you've seen how I operate. Man, I don't know. Well,
Y'all just stop fucking sandbagging me, goddamn it.
listen, I can't help but, it's saying, viewing the splitting. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's like, it talks about someone's potential or their future, which means, I don't know, man.
You hear, as you say splitting, what looks to be an older Triton, or rather an older blue-skinned elven-like creature. It looks to be a bit wider in his shoulders. Kind of overhearing you from one of, as he's talking to a merchant trying to buy some gold chain of some sort, kind of looks over at you and goes, wait, did you say the splitting? As he speaks in common. As you kind of look him up and down, you see his very heavy leather cloak, a couple of what looks to be books on his hips, a backpack on his back that looks to be made of a black leather that has a bunch of rolled up papyrus. Immediately you can kind of catch a glance of some look to be like maps that are very poorly folded or kind of pushed into the bag. He kind of looks over at you, his spectacles kind of now coming forward that seem to almost appear out of nowhere. And he kind of smiles at you.
Yeah. I don't know what it means though.
Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Wavecaller. I am the first Wavecaller. You mentioned the splitting. That's interesting. I found some text on that. If you're interested, give me a minute. As he kind of like pulls his backpack around and kind of like wraps it. You do notice Guide is flapping a little bit more ferociously and looks a little panicked.
I think this might be one of those people that wants our soul.
I might be inclined to think so, but I'm curious to see how this plays out.
All right, so have an exfil strategy after he shows up that he wants their soul or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know I can hear you. Also, I'm like you. I'm visiting.
Hey, man, we don't know that.
Well, I would like to start with, I don't have a stick with a mop full of mush inside me, while you do. Maybe that should be your first noting.
Hey, you don't know that. We can't see your insides.
That's because we don't know each other's true names. That's just an understanding of anyone.
Actually, speaking of, while we're down here, should we come up with code names? I feel like that should have been like a first thing on the list that we kind of neglected to do.
Yeah, what with you yelling mine out?
Yeah, that was probably a mistake. And hey, man, my fault. I haven't really had to worry about that kind of stuff in a very long time.
What are you talking about? We have to worry about my bounty constantly.
I feel like people just don't care enough. They don't think it's real. What did I call you before? D'Artagnan? Yeah, we'll go with that.
I wouldn't call him Eider Frosthorn. He's even known down here. As he kind of, like the Triton kind of licks his thumb, flips the book, and Wavecaller kind of goes there, reading something from the book.
Well, I didn't tell him.
That was a weird example that he just came up with out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I do apologize. The spectacles. I can see anyone's true names. I'm surprised you guys don't have anything like that. It's the only way to get around down here. Otherwise, creatures will take advantage and steal your souls.
We kind of didn't come here prepared. It was kind of a last minute thing.
Wait, what year is it for you that in the material plane?
Bardris, is that you?
The Triton kind of like raises an eyebrow and goes, "Not familiar with a Bardris, but he sounds like an intelligent fellow. No.
Question. Who is in charge of the Frost Giants? Do you last remember?
The Frost Giants didn't have a rulership. They were slaves. What do you mean? They were. The Storm Giants were slaves. I mean, they were in chains and building our empires. What do you mean?
Well, hey, good news. All of the giant types have their own kingdoms.
Types? Like
Yes.
more than one.
Well, yeah, like you said, the Storm Giants, Frost Giants, Fire Giants, Stone Giants, Hill Giants.
That was a
Crystal
theory.
Giant.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Storm Giants were theorized to be able to be bred to be put in different places. I didn't think the Lords had managed. The 9 Mesa Kings have done quite a lot since I was last on the material plane. I wonder if Plethmora is still expecting me back at this point.
What? Actually, Royce,
Yes?
what year is it? What year is it?
So for all of those of you in this
For us.
age, you'd know it as 65,008, and in fact, I can give you the exact date you died. And sorry, not 65,008. My apologies.
Well, currently, at least as when we were last there, it was the 12th of the planting, 65009.
Looks at you and goes, backwards or forwards? As you kind of look at him with a bit confusion, as if there was ever a calendar that went forward or backwards, kind of look at him for a second.
Since when do calendars go backwards?
He goes,
Guys, we might not want to be telling this guy a whole bunch of stuff. He seems like he's from like way old.
if I may ask, what do you think I am?
Weird fish guy.
That answers every question. Snowbeards were a simpler creature, so I'm guessing you're not a cannibal now, and I'm guessing you two, as he kind of points to Ned and Kaz, goes, some sort of red or light-skinned storm giant?
I'm mixed. I'm a storm giant, fire
Oh
giant.
my god, they interbreed. That is terrifying. How does your species manage to keep itself upright? They were not very bright last I met them.
Well, they're strong enough. I mean,
That's
hey, the frost giants have been coming up with colleges and medical.
They can
breakthroughs.
read?
Yeah.
Oh my
To be
god.
fair, Utham has been coming up with that. Frost giants.
I trained so many storm giants to try and read our texts, and God, it's like trying to teach a boar or fire boar how to understand the basic concept of the arcane. Like, it was beyond their grasp. They were so stupid, but man, and for carrying capacity, they were only half the strength of my own people. It was quite sad to see, to be honest. For such a large body that has to eat so much, they were quite incapable. Interesting. I do apologize as he kind of looks over. You all kind of notice the guide kind of slowly pushing his claw onto the a book that's still slightly opened or jar in Ider's hand. And as you see the push on the print, Ider, you see a CR5 creature, guide, or critical ranking 5, guide, servant of Alluvia, pet of the Grand Church, holy beast.
Gotcha.
As,
I try to find this guy's.
the claw kind of pulls away as you start flipping through the page and look at, but this Triton continues and goes, oh, Ed, here, the splitting. I was going to tell you about that. My apologies, and I hope I'm not being rude. You must understand, your species was not capable last thing I spoke. I must ask, are the 9 Mesa Kings no longer ruling? Because it seems foreign that the Giants would be given in rulership unless... I mean, Grunaga fella, O'Garian, I believe was his name. His great-grandfather was a quite capable individual. The great-grandson, he was a tiny little fella, very mouthy little bastard. Did he manage to rule? Is that who rules now, I assume?
Huh.
No?
Since I have not kept up with the world history at all, I couldn't tell you.
Kind of looks at you with a little bit of shock, kind of looks at the other two and goes, oh, interesting. Well, if you don't know, the splitting, here it is. A group of heroes, yada yada, no one cares about the fluffy tales, something about cataclysm, something about killing someone named Morin, doesn't matter. Here it is. When the gods are tired of the material plane, champions arise, as I mentioned, do a bunch of crap, and then mortals will try and break the chain of godlyhood gods against them, similar to what they did in the First Age. And then here it states, one god beyond the understanding of mortal power will be destroyed and replaced with a fake. Well, that's the translation. The actual word here roughly translates to one who smiles with all those who die, but I think that just means something the same thing. You lot don't have anything to do with any of this, though, right?
Quick question. Can you rewind back to that whole bit about cataclysm, maybe?
Okay, flips some page and goes, it says here, ancient powerful demon, something that the 9 Mesa Kings tried to seal away. When they're unleashed, the creature will be released again. It'll bring the end of the world, and the champions marked by it are destined to fight and decide the fate of the world. I hate to be those guys. God, that's fucking...
Yeah, it would really suck to be those guys.
This
Yeah,
creature's
we don't know
listed as
anybody like
taking
that.
on all 9 of the kings. Fuck, even the current Lord of the Lands would lose in comparison to those creatures. I mean, from what I've heard and the magics I've seen, oh god, it's like this individual would be like a drop in a bucket.
I cut my face in my hands.
You know who would know, actually? the old guy. Oh, what's his name? He rules one of the factions. He used to deal with the 9 Mesa Kings. He's still ruling. Grandpa, the Elder King. He controls the northern district of the whole area. He's actually the one who came up with the critical ranking system. Brilliant fighting individual. He used to deal with the 9 Mesa Kings and fight alongside them. He's even rumored to have beaten a couple of them. He's gotten too old and too powerful to leave or do anything, but you might be able to talk to him and find out more information. He might be able to tell you more about Cataclysm. He's the only one who I can imagine would have been around during the time of that creature. The only depiction here is a big inky blotch and the word angry written in abyssal.
That kind of describes, I feel like. We should probably, thank you for the information. We should probably, looks like Guide is getting a little agitated. We should probably go.
Yeah, we should go feed him.
I think we have a thing to be at.
Yeah.
But thank you once again.
Looks at you and nods and goes, "Yeah. If you need anything else, let me know. By the way, again," he kind of like holds out a card and goes, "My name is Wavecaller. If you ever need any abyssal information on Abaddon, I am a researcher. Once I come back to the material plane, you'll want to make sure to look me up. I do serve at the court of the 9 Mesa Kings. Plethmora herself is my hirer, so she's would probably be happy to welcome individuals such as yourselves into her court, especially if you are as capable as you seem." As he
we'll be sure to look you up when we get back.
He hands you the card and smiles and goes, "Please do. I will be here probably for the next few years. I'm still doing research on some of the older Mesa Kings that had come before, so I do apologize, but like you, I'm also very busy. I must continue on my way." As he kind of like pulls his backpack back on, pushing the book into it, and kind of looks at you and gives you a nod.
Hey, D'Artagnan, for the purpose of people not hearing your true name, do you think Abaddon is like a place that is stuck at one point in time and all who visit at said time?
Man, I can give you my my suppositions, but this seems like more like a roll for situation.
I will take it if you want to try and guesstimate based on the information you've gathered as either. You are welcome, but I will also take either a knowledge arcana, religion, or history.
Not planes.
I will take planes. It's just not very likely to have much written on this place. That's why I didn't mention it. I didn't expect you to have high enough rankings it. But you are welcome to use that as well if you have, if you're confident.
I gotcha. I mean, I have planes. Also, I guess technically Arcana would be the highest by a good bit by this point. Oh, no, I should fucking use World Envelope. It's been letting me roll hot today. Oh, it did not on this one. No. 28.
28. With knowledge arcana, as you kind of look up into the sky, you do notice a glimmer of a massive magical circle that seems to be continuously flowing magic coming through and out of it. As you start to notice and read the runes, it does look to be some sort of magic that looks to have something to do with time stopping, though the concept seems so foreign and the magic is so expansive. It's like as if someone took a spell that would normally take a sentence to describe it and wrote 20 to 40 pages describing every single detail in deliberately and every little bit that it can do. It seems very expansive and wide-reaching, but the spell is very almost, it seems like it's sucking a ton of magic from around the area. I will also note, as you suddenly do start looking up towards the sky and noticing this, you also do notice on the skyline 5 large, what looks to be almost purple-like lightning congregations in the different points of the city that you can even clearly see from where you're standing out towards in the far distance. They are shining bright as they seem to flash down and continuously strike down towards individual points in the city, one of which you can't help but notice you're walking towards.
I gotta like point to like the lightning like bolts, and it's like I have a strong feeling that might correlate to the rulers of these realms. Uh, Towards the time bit, as near as I can tell, and I gesture towards the massive fuck off spell circle in the sky.
The rest
Also
of you
to
do
clear-
not notice it.
Oh, okay. Well, this is awkward.
What you pointing at, Ader? That's just the sky, I think.
Oh, you can't see the massive spell circle.
What are you? Did
As
did
you
that
look
weird
up-
like blacksmith guy like give you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
But I don't know. This place seems to be like made of chaos, and there's a magic circle in the sky that seems to be containing that. It's indescribably powerful. I don't know if it's limited to a singular point in time. It's, I mean, I just don't know enough about this plane to make like that much of a educated guess, but it's definitely fucking with causality,
Listen,
which
man,
is
that-
wild because I think this place doesn't follow causality.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, existing outside of the norm sounds like a kind of place this would be. Oh well.
Also, I suspect that a plane made of chaos would fucking hate whatever and whoever made that magic.
Chaos versus and the laws of time. That just doesn't sound like it'd mesh.
This seemed an awful lot like trying to nail like an actual nail into a waterfall and like having that stay put.
At the mention of that, as you're kind of walking through, following the guide, you do see a little like druidic grove off to the side. It looks to be a little small church dedicated to Alluvia being worshipped as a nature god, and you do see a druid looking like he's trying to hammer a wood nail into a waterfall and keeps saying "damn it" as it drops and he picks it up.
I wonder if he's tried freezing the waterfall.
As you look over, there's another who has done exactly that and seems to be very happily getting through his daily work.
Oh, would you look at that?
Ned, I begin to understand you more and more. And I don't like it.
I can just imagine like Ned be like, "Those guys are idiots."
Ned is the smart one of this grove. Oh no!
As Ned stays deep in pondering.
Bro's pondering an orb.
He is. But as you continue walking through the streets, you do finally come across what looks to be kind of eventually a small steeple made of solid mithril, a glowing blue coloration to it that in the light seems to almost make the entire building glimmer. As you look up, this single bell tower made of oventium that sparkles with its purplish color as it rings out and gives this beautiful tune as it does. The little runes along the ring of it kind of glowing. As you see the lightning kind of striking down into the back of the church, almost as if behind it, the little steeple itself has a little wooden fence of white wood kind of sticking up about 20 feet to either side of the building. What looks to be little vegetable guards with, as you watch a little kid, a fiendish or pit fiend kid like creature pick up what looks to be at first a red radish. As it pulls out, looks to be a screaming person that, as each of you look over, looks to be as if it's was a person at one point. You hear them begging for their life as the little kid kind of giggles and puts it into the basket and then stabs it a few times with a knife until it stops screaming and then goes back to grab another. Go ahead.
Let's make sure to not touch literally
That's
anything.
horrifying.
Thank you. As you kind of look about, one of the small pit fiends with what looks to be a long like carrot, kind of holding it, a person's face on it looks as if they are just fearful, paranoid, looking side to side as they're being held by the child in his hand with a little knife in the other. He walks over to you lot and goes, "Oh, are you the intruders that came into Abaddon at the request of that really dumb goddess?"
No. We're the intruders that came to Abaddon from Ella Ugba, one of the best goddesses ever graced this existence.
The kid points the knife up at you threateningly for a second and then like chops the carrot in half as the carrot starts to scream as the knife gets closer and then silences it immediately and goes, "Oh, okay, well I guess you're not here to see the master. Please enjoy the veggies. You are welcome to pick anything you want, but you are only allowed to take what you can eat."
Thank you.
As you quickly navigate to it, Eider, you see they have a critical ranking of 8.
I just kind of like slow. Well, actually, sorry. Fucking, this means nothing to these two.
Come on, man. Don't be like that.
The kid kind of looks about you and kind of goes back to his garden picking. As a few moments later, a hooded, tall figure comes out in a very thick white cloak, very effeminate and about 12 feet in height. A long white stick made of what looks to be solid metal, some sort of solid metal, kind of in their hand as they walk through, patting a couple of the kids on the head as they giggle and point over at you lot. One of the kids seemingly looks over at you, having just pulled out what looks to be an onion, and you see the face for a moment of Dom's father, recognizing the corpse, as the kid just takes a big bite out of the onion and tears into it and starts chewing on it. Little bits of what looks to be this red liquid start leaking out onto the garden ground as the kid continues to gnash on this thing as it screams from his mouth. But the female hooded figure kind of starts to walk over after seeing the kids point to you and smiles as she comes to the gate, taking her hood off and as she reveals her horns and her very almost elven face and features. Her eyes colorless as you notice there's no pupil, no nothing in there, just the white coloration. As she kind of stands in front of you and goes, "You must be Eider Frosthorn, Kesnanok, though your goddess won't allow me to see your name. And Ned, no last name, but you do have a family name that you don't know about yet. Don't worry, it's not a trick.
Usually it's grass and trees.
That's not your name, but that is the name you did choose, I heard. I'm quite surprised, but that is another quest entirely. I do apologize that it may seem that I know your names from some mystical thing, but the children in this city are like little birds for me. I hear anything that they hear, and it sounds like you met a merchant by the name of Strand and decided to shout each other's names. It wasn't quite hard to figure out after that.
I just turn and start staring daggers at Kez real fast.
If you will join me for some tea, don't worry, none of the screaming creatures are used to make it, I promise. It's actual tea from the material plane. If you'll join me, I would love to explain why I've called you and why I've brought you with my guide here, as she kind of pets Guide behind the back of its thick carapaced skull.
I finished the pasta because I knew that's your favorite, but
Ooh, pasta's my favorite too.
I motion as to after you.
She smiles at that and kind of walks over to the door and opens it up. As you look inside and see this gorgeous room of arcane baubles kind of tossed us around the sides of the walls. These glass windows splashed with scenes of her doing magic, all colored. A couple of what looks to be about 6 little trees in pots of blackened soil on the far end of the room. The center seems to be a simple desk made of this similar white-like wood. A couple of chairs that have been designed out to be more comfortable with thick silk cushions on them and backings on them that have been set out. There seems to be 4 seats set aside. The rest of the room seems to have a few pews lined up on either side of it, and she just kind of looks at you and goes, "I do apologize. We used to use this as a church. Believe it or not, they actually used to believe in some... Well, I guess the material plane would call us demon lords in the common tongue now. Probably not good to mention that you met with me or anyone of high ranking while you're here. I imagine the dragons and the giants who rule the material plane will be quite freaked out and might consider you heretics. But
I care
please,
not for the rules of dragons and giants.
you should. Your mother, well, not your mother, but your mother, the god your mother, cares quite a bit about them. Please, and take a seat and allow me to pour a cup. Do you like your cups of mithril, adamantine? Do you have a preference of metal?
Are we?
Uh,
Wait, are you
which-
drinking the metal?
Whichever won't kill me.
You jest. I do enjoy a comedian. She kind of holds out a couple of adamantine cups and sets them down in front of each of you. She kind of snaps her fingers, and a blackened pot comes over and starts pouring out this greenish liquid that gives a light smell of mint and what smells like a little bit of spices on there that would be similar to almost like a blackened tea. As you kind of take a deep breath of it, she kind of takes a sip of her cup first in front of all three of you and then smiles over it as she breathes in deeply and goes, "Now, about that mission I had for you," and she kind of smiles and goes, "Ned Grassentrees, do you know much about Rebirth?"
I found a staff that had it written on it.
Yes, I've been watching that. That was during the heretical period of our grove. Those who chose a different path than what we set out with. Every generation has its interests, as they say, and who am I to tell them or guide them any more than those of us who did before? That would be one of the branches, no pun intended, of our great grove. The Grove of Rebirth is quite old, as you see. We have existed since time immemorial, when the gods walked the material plane at all stages, even those who are beyond comprehension, trying to make us bow to them. But that wasn't when the Grove, or when I founded the Grove, you know. However, I don't think it'd be fun to tell you all about that yet. I think it'd be more interesting for you to find out and choose for yourself what branch, again, no pun intended, that you would like to go down of the Grove of Rebirth. Before you today sits these 5 trees. These are trees of rebirth, is what we'll call them. Back in my day, to recognize a member, the member had to raise one of these trees and plant it somewhere and protect it to prove their capability and ability to join the Grove. Now, well, the Grove has fallen into dismay with 2 leaders that have factionalized it, you and the one named Nero. And I wish to see which of the 2 of you would be a better choice for the next stage of rebirth. So, I ask that you today choose one of these saplings to take with you. You will be required to keep it alive, which will be no easy task, as they have a long list of things that they require. And you will you will choose where you plant it, and that will decide whether you are worthy of becoming the Grove leader that you claim to be. And I know no good hero looks to do something without a reward. I know I certainly didn't. I've been given this great power after all. So, I offer you this. If you can keep this tree alive and prove to me that you are worthy of becoming the next leader of the Great Grove of Rebirth, I will give you something that you truly will seek and need in your hardest moment. A moment when you will see the end and expect nothing more. But this item will not protect you from giving up. It will only give you a means to not give up. You must choose to be reborn from it. But you'll find out about that item soon enough. And she gives a smile at that and kind of sets the tea down. Please pick which tree you would like to raise.
Can I look over them all?
Yeah. Are you looking for anything in particular, or is this just a general, looking at the tree, see the health of it?
So we get a
Seeing the health of
Charizard.
it and like what would be needed to
Okay.
keep it alive.
Yeah. Give me a knowledge, nature, and a survival check. one of each.
Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle.
I think it's more like
15
Bulbasaur,
for
Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur.
nature.
15, okay.
10 survival, bad rolls.
As you kind of look over each of the trees, they're not indiscernible, but some of them have stronger branches. A few of them are thicker in the stem. Some look to have better roots. But as you count them and look them over, what you realize almost immediately is each of these things seem to be siphoning the magic from the room. Almost as if these trees require a denser magic to survive. Kind of looking at the soil, you also notice the soil, you're not sure what they would need, but you're 100% sure whatever this blackened mud is not good for the trees normally. It looks to be something more of a sustainable, like a nutrient paste to keep the tree on a stasis. The last thing you kind of look at is you notice that this tree seems to have a strange liquid along it that as you kind of feel the ground, the dirt inside this black sludge-like material is almost sticky in its like feeling. First you think it might be blood, but it seems to be something else. Though again, you're not sure. Though it's similar, almost like tree sap. And as you kind of stand up. As you look at each of the trees, as far as health-wise, going from left to right, all of them look healthy except for the far right one, which looks to be the most dying, as its stems and its roots, as well as its branches, are all quite thin.
I will take the one I feel has the strongest roots.
Okay. As you grab the one on the far left and kind of pick it up, picking up the heavy blackened pot, she kind of smiles at you. Olivia smiles at you all, and the other trees disappear into a cloud of smoke, and she goes, "Well, it appears you've made your decision. With this, I grant you your first mission. The soil in that is unsuitable. You need to seek out soil that will fill this tree. The soil you choose will define the tree's path. From life new to death. There are 3 paths that this tree can go in. If you choose, or depending on the soil you choose, will define what steps you start to take and where you will lead this entirety of this tree, as well as everything else." And she kind of looks at you and smiles and goes, "And I'm betting you're wanting a hint, don't you?"
Please?
I like druids. They're cute. They always know to humble themselves in front of more powerful beings. You're almost as good as the nobles who keep trying to make deals with me. My best advice I can give you is, if I was going to seek out something for a tree such as this, I would look for a soil that was thick in a reddish rock, or the deaths of those who serve and are divine to a god at a level even beyond your friends there. As she kind of looks over towards Kez. Both of those will make its decision. Or you can choose just to put normal dirt in there from the mortal plane, though I have no idea what it'll do. That is all I can offer. The rest will reveal itself as you complete your objectives. As she kind of looks at you and kind of takes the cup of tea off the table and takes a sip of it. She kind of...
Is there somewhere around here with reddish rock?
Oh, no, not at all. This is the realm of chaos, my dear. Well, not technically. That broke off of, a millennia ago. It is a realm of, death wouldn't be an accurate term. Or a lack of order would be the best way to put it. Pure domination would be another good way to put it. But the sad thing is that the waters around here are poisonous, as it is nothing but pure magic in its own right. And the ground lacks any sort of nutrients, as nothing grows in it besides those souls that are trapped within vegetables that allow us to keep sustenance. Though we fiends of this plane do not require to eat. It is only those who choose to enjoy the taste of the dead. Or rather, former living would probably be more accurate. As Kez makes notes in the background. She kind of smiles at that and goes, "Is there anything else I may be of assistance to you on that, dear Ned, my young man?"
I don't think so.
She nods and smiles and goes, "Don't worry, your journey will bring you across the required nutrients for this tree, and I can see it already as I look upon your leader's face," as she kind of looks over to Eider for a moment and then turns back to Ned again and smiles and goes, "I have a very good feeling you're going to run across everything you're looking for." As she kind of smiles, it goes, "If there's nothing else I can be of assistance to the three of you, I recommend you be on your way. I will say, your goddess's protection does only have a certain time limit. A week, but time does seem to get away from those down here. You've only been down here for a few hours, but it can be quite easy to lose track as you find the lack of needing to sleep or sun or moon can be quite difficult to comprehend for new souls that have been abandoned here. If I may, do you need some coins to get yourselves through, or are you quite capable to find your way along your mission without it?"
I'll be fine, but I do have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Ask away, son of Ella Ugbo.
How is one's ranking determined on the scale?
By your most powerful fate. The belief, from my understanding, but you'd have to ask the man who made it himself, is it gives you a projection of how powerful you will be at the most peak of your power, based on what decisions are supposed to become available to you. This was the creator's way of coming up with a way of understanding a creature's potential, and knowing whether it was worth killing them in that moment or letting them continue. The Elder King gets quite bored with, as he puts it, those of lesser capabilities. Even my powers pales in comparison to his own, which I can't blame him. He is almost equivalent to... Well, it seems you all have met an individual who serves. You all are marked by an individual of similar power. It is strange. Why do you all bear the mark of Cataclysm?
It's not of our choice, I can promise you that.
Well, if it was, you wouldn't have been able to come here. Those who
Let
serve...
him shot his gateway.
She kind of looks over at Eider and kind of stops and goes, "What was that?"
Yeah, kind of ran into him, shot his gateway. Think he
His?
forestalled his coming.
I think you misunderstand. It's not a he, more of an it, but a her is probably a bit more correct in terminology. Cataclysm is a force, something that happens. It's like death. You can become immortal, but all things die. While the concept of immortality, and its idea is very limited in that sense, unfortunately. In the same sense that the terminology of cataclysm doesn't quite fit the being. I think the exact translation is end. There is nothing. There is a creature that when it appears, whatever it marks is gone. It is dead. Well, dead would be a kinder term. Your soul doesn't even move on when you're marked by a creature like that. Shoot, I've only seen 2 other creatures that have managed to survive. Well, let their souls pass on, that have managed to fight the individual. I'm kind of shocked that such low-ranking prey would be of an interest. You must all be fated for something quite grand to have been marked by cataclysm, or have pissed off in such a way that really, truly has to be impressive. I've never seen an individual capable of that level of irritation.
Hey, well, we are the unfortunate sons, so
I have been told I can be pretty irritating.
I just
Poor
kind of like
man.
take a thumb to like the back of the book and like just show her like the 6 and like we're just unlucky like that, really.
She looks at it and goes, "Ah, I see your issue. It's because of the fact that you're too sensible as an individual. Allow me to explain something about the book. Typically, those who are more crazy and eccentric individuals typically rank higher because of the fact that they have the capabilities to achieve more. They are willing to push for any sort of power. Having a high ranking is not a good thing. It just means that in the future, you will gain a lot of power. More than likely, like most of us, you will be corrupted and turned into a demon or a devil or something far worse. If you have a high ranking, it just means that you are a selfish individual that would sacrifice everything in a moment to get what you wanted."
I'm just slowly changing kids.
I imagine he takes a slurp of his tea at the end.
hey man,
I'm-
what can I
I'm
say?
doing
Anything
that
for
dog
Ella.
thing where I'm like watching Eider out of the side of my eye, but I won't look at him.
I'm not guilty. I didn't do it. No, the cat
hey,
did
man.
it.
Hey, listen, man. What can I say? I'd do anything for Ella Ugbo.
It's like, well, there goes that plan to throw her off my trail.
Oh, Eider, in fact, actually, if you're curious, I could give you a full explanation of your fate, if you are interested. However, and I know I can already see it in your face as it's crunching up at the however part. I will ask that you offer your services to me, a quest, if I may offer you, in exchange for seeing your future. Now, not your soul. I'm not that. I am that kind of demon. I'm just not interested in your soul as it's already been influenced by another. I have more of an interest in something I need done, and you seem a capable individual who has a cooler head than. She kind of looks to the other two for a moment after hearing the conversation.
So we've got room temp IQ and religious zealot.
I was just like mentally kind of reorder like the idea of like the critical ranking scale means batshit insane.
For the Emperor equivalent.
In Kez's head right now, there's like the armies and marching of Ella Ugbo's paladins, killing and genociding all the undead.
That's what I daydream about. Yes, the return.
His arm up in the air, yelling in angry German with a little mustache on him.
Wait!
Go on. She kind of offers this to you.
Like mull it over for a second, and I'm slow to acquiesce, but I eventually do and say, honestly, I think learning about what task you want me to do will be as enlightening as my future.
If that's of your interest, that's fine. You lot are unfortunately marked on a cataclysm. The other two who are going to be quite interested in probably harrying you, well, 3 technically, but it seems you've already met the third, as I can see his mark all across each of you. It seems you're not fans of the individual. I can't speak his name, otherwise I will bring not only his influence, but the being that marks the cataclysm that marks your next ire onto me. So please forgive me if I play a little coy with the third name here. The other two, though, Leohar and Garunnaga, are fighting over the soul of your friend Domnander. Little do you know that Domnander is going to play a very key point in the war that's to come between the giants and the dragons that is almost unavoidable. Like the cat in in my shop, it's going to meow in the background at you until you feed it. As she continues, she goes, but these two jostle and fight for Domnander's soul, and with that, I do worry that will change the fates that are currently benefiting me. Now, nothing of what you do will be of a problem if I am involved. I do wish you to know was a mortal who did actually want the mortal plane to survive. It's quite entertaining to watch you all struggle in your day to day. It's actually one of the best shows I've ever found. Um, I would like to not see the current expectations changed, and I believe with Domnander being the key, you can assist with that. Do not let Domnander get involved in the Grunaga family. The belt that they will be given is exactly the key. If they find out the truth behind that belt, they're welcome to use it as they see fit. But if they find out the truth behind that belt, I fear that the War of the Ursus, Dragons and Giants will go on for a lot longer, and we'll see more of your friends dead. Well, actually, I've always been one more for showmanship, as she kind of like waves out her cloak a little bit, and the entire room around Ned and Eider kind of dissipates as you're kind of still sitting in the chairs. Ned still standing over on the side with the tree in his arms. Ned, I also want you to give me a will save in the background real quick. As you're holding this tree. As she begins to show an image around you. Let's see what Ned gets. 19. Ned, you hear the voice in your head suddenly as the illusion begins to go. Almost as if it's coming from the same arm from the same side as the arm you're holding the majority of this like potted plant in. That, by the way, is about a foot wide for the pot. And about 2 feet tall from base of pot to top of stem of the tree, or top branch. No leaves on it, and seems to be kind of bare right now.
I think you should name it George.
Ned, you hear, "Name me."
Oh God, no!
Do it, Robert. You gotta, man.
Seymour.
The creature kind of continues again in your head. "Name me."
Robert,
Ned
you could
will
do the
start
funniest
to-
thing ever.
Stroke his beard, thinking.
Ned strokes his beard, thinking, "Oh, do you need a minute?"
Yes, let me get a good one.
All right. As Ned starts kind of contemplating, not even paying attention to the scene that's kind of enveloping around you all, kind of loosely watching but not listening to as much as he starts to think, as he strokes his beard, his long green beard. As you look around, you begin to see a burning city with what looks to be giants being torn apart, dragons biting into the creatures, the chains of what look to be an entire kingdom of snowbeards, a castle of House Venkos, and all the other noble houses kind of crumbling down into a fire. Regan Utham's mountain being kind of caving in on itself and burning out into like a volcano-like appearance. What you see now then as the scene begins to kind of close and come to a darker, almost darker coloration as the sky begins to fill with blackened smoke. You look around at the houses or the buildings, a few buildings left around, and start to see these skulls, one after another, of King Movasi, Regan Utham, Regan Sunna, every member of the House of Grunaga, as well as the different dragon lords, one after another, as they go through. And Ned shouts out, "Go ahead, Ned."
Oh God. I'll call you Spruce Lee.
The illusion kind of stutters for a second, and you see it just kind of stops and gives it an appreciative nod and continue.
God.
As you hear in your head, Ned, once more from the tree, go, "Spruce Lee, and the contract has been completed. as you begin to feel yourself bound to this item as or almost arcane bond begins, or a divine bond begins to tie. And Ned, you begin to have feelings of for this plant as if it was your own family. Even the cat approves. The distant cat pops out and seems to get a little thumbs up from the shelf and then disappears back into its hole.
God, that cat has opposable thumbs.
It does. That's a demonic cat. Is that really the scariest thing you've seen today?
You know, if cats had opposable thumbs, I'm pretty sure the world would have ended by now.
True.
No, the cat smiling is the scariest part.
But as the illusion continues back to on, you watch as the skulls crack, and Dom seems to stand at the height of on top of these skulls, as they look to be carrying what looks to be an axe, a staff, a suit of armor, a book, and a bunch of other strange objects all across their body. Their eyes glowing a bright red, and their belt seemingly glowing a bright golden coloration with its giant abyssal arcane runes going across it. That, yes, you do have to know giant and abyssal to be able to read. As they seem to stand on top of these skulls, going mad as people around them just die or are enchained and enslaved. The scene breaks apart, and Olivia goes, "As you can see, your friend goes quite mad once she gets the power that she's going to. So if I may recommend you to take on this quest to avoid their mind being taken, do not seek where this belt is supposed to rest. You'll understand."
Okay. I was going to double check if we could get a heads up on a place to avoid.
I imagine Domnander's going to be told exactly where to go. As their killing of these individuals will signal the merging of Abaddon with the material plane. And I don't know about you, but I like my powers where they are right now.
There is nothing I would like less than you coming to our plane. Proverbial you.
No offense taken. Trust me, I was mortal once. I understand. I do tire of these games, but to be fair, if we had the magic you had in the material plane, I fear that the 9 Mesa Kings would be nothing in comparison to the chaos we'd bring, for every creature would try to rise and gain power, absorbing magic and stealing souls. I mean, hell, even my pet guide here, who she kind of rubs across the back of, as she does, or says this and goes, would be able to kill thousands and become as powerful as even me, as I currently am, within days if they were released onto Abaddon. And most creatures, even lower ranking, would be able to do that with ease. So you can understand the level of worry that this would bring, and why I don't want to see something like this happen. I like my games as they are. I don't need extra players on the board. So let's make a deal, me and you. You do this, and she kind of thinks for a second, and you see more of a contemplation again. No, we will go with the deal I stated. As she goes, the item will be given. As she smiles and holds out her hand.
What?
Won't you take a
You didn't promise me an item. What?
Do you not have an interest in this offer?
No, I'm just very confused because you didn't offer an item.
She kind of looks at you and goes, "What do you mean? I totally offered you an item."
No, you said you told me more about my destiny.
Exactly.
The item was Ned's.
What do you mean? Do you not want your destiny?
I am so you know what, the hell with it. I just shake her hand.
She smiles and shakes your hand, and as she does, she pulls out of her cloak, as she pulls away, a single key that looks to be made of this dark blue ice, and have a single sapphire gemstone at the very end of it. No other carvings. The key is slightly ornate, but looks to be for a large lock, from what you get. And I mean literally the physically sized large lock, as the key is large in its own right. She kind of pulls this out of her cloak and holds it out in front of you and goes, "This is going to answer all of your questions, but I must warn, once you learn about your fate, you will set in line many things." She kind of like slides the key over in front of you. Put that into any door that you find it can fit into, any large lock, and it will open the door and take you to your fate. You will learn everything. But just remember, you cannot return once your fate has been chosen.
As in, I'll die?
Oh no, that would be too macabre. I wouldn't get your soul then. That would be not worth it. You gotta understand. There's a rapport to this thing. Immortals have lost their understanding of demons and devils so quickly. I give you this something now. Later, you come for more. Then I offer you that, and then you offer more, and then we eventually get to the point where you offer me your soul for something really powerful because you're addicted to the power. That's how this works. If I just killed you, where would the soul gathering part go? Come on, Eider Frosthorn, you're killing me here. I know you're an intelligent noble. Okay. What it does, and the most I can tell you about it is. The idea of this item is called Fate's Key. In a sense, once you open the lock, you've locked in what your fate will be. There is no more changing it. That is what will happen. That's what I mean. God, if you had to deal with any of the other demon lords, they would have left you on a cryptic, weird answer and just, left you walking out of here wondering what the hell the key did. And then you would end up in some weird place, like the Underdark as some ruler because you decide to open up the key after stomping on a goose in the middle of the forest. And she kind of sips her tea heavily at that and gives a slight smile.
Just kind of
I
have
look a
the key
little
thing for a
disturbed.
minute.
It looks a little disturbed. Alright. Kind of looks at you and goes, "Now, since I don't think I can offer you anything else other than some refreshments and some food, if you are interested, we do have some screaming oranges I just picked out. They are specifically those lawbreakers who have decided to go against their kin in a way that even Moors deems unworthy. And so we get them in oranges and we get to peel their skin off and then chew on them one piece at a time. It's quite an interesting thing. Sometimes they sing in their screams. It's quite beautiful, if you will. I've also got a vegetable salad that we're getting ready to prepare. If you'd like to come listen in and watch."
I think I'd rather get to the business at hand and get the fuck out of here.
She nods at that and smiles and goes, when you become immortal and powerful again, you'll understand, Eider. You'll want to be just like me, and you'll enjoy the fruits of power. There was a fella that came through here who understood. That Zilpip fella, smart as a whip. I tell you, had the mindset to be a perfect demon lord. And, you ever see him, let him know that there's always a position down in my ranks for someone with his kind of mental fortitude. He's going to go far down here.
1,000-yard stare.
Imagine Ken's also realizing.
I'll make sure to pass the message along.
I think he'd be better suited for this place, honestly, than I am. It took me hundreds of years to adjust. I heard he conquered a city in his first few days here. I mean, given the hot city of 100 worlds ate it, but hey, it happens. Oh, also, if I may make a recommendation, don't go out conquering a city around here that's nearby. Any of the other islands that will soon be absorbed, the people become kings and queens or lords or whatever you want to call them. They start getting driven to madness by this city, as I found out, and I'd hate to see one of you go mad. I mean, it would just break all the fun in the game.
I have absolutely no intention to ever return here, if at all possible.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be seeing you soon.
No,
Or I
we'll
won't.
fuck down
Or
here.
I might. Who knows? Fates are a funny thing. But you, Kesnanok, you are always welcome. And Ned Grass and Trees, please, if you're ever interested in making a deal, I would love to have you at my court. Innocent and dumb is some of the greatest company to have down here, as it's so rare these days to have that kind heart. Plus, I imagine you'd love our veggie garden.
Suddenly I think I like meat again.
Oh shit, Ned! Talk about a scared straight moment.
Kaz, I was gonna say, Kaz surprised. Either trying to have to giggle in the background.
You
That
know,
or I just won't eat ever again.
hey,
No,
look,
I'm just like mostly on board with you know, the statement. I think Ider's gonna become a strict carnivore after like we get the fuck out of here.
question again, if you don't mind me asking. A onion we saw had a striking resemblance to the father of a friend.
Oh, yes, it means that his soul was sold by an evil deity to a being down here, and they're being tormented as a part of it. Some of the demons prefer that the souls be tenderized, and we do that by basically devouring them and having them reincarnate into the garden a few times. Basically going through the full process of digestion and everything. It's a horrendous thing to be put through a demon's stomach, from my understanding. Never tried it. That's what it is on my bucket list as something I haven't done yet. I am planning to, just not yet. And supposedly it's one of the worst feelings and excruciating pains you can feel, and then you're digested out, and then you're reborn back into an onion too, or whatever. In this case, an onion, probably because of the evil god. Normally, it's an apple if it's a good god. We have a couple fruit trees out back. We also have some demonic cows. If you're interested, I can make you a steak that'll moo at you. It's quite interesting to poke. The only problem is when you go ahead, sir.
I just start ushering people out the door.
Yeah, so, like,
You start picking, trying to drag Cat.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Oh, look at the time.
Come back anytime. You're always welcome here. If you do become a carnivore, Ned, we've got steaks that'll moo every time you chew on it. It's really fun.
So we're not telling Dom about his dad being an onion, right?
That one we can't, because I don't think there's a damn thing we can do to stop that, and that just seems
Yeah.
like torture to tell them about that.
Yeah, I agree. Ned, please, for the love of God, do not let that slip.
Guide starts to kind
I
of
would
follow
like to
behind you.
forget everything that I saw today.
It's got, imagine just 1,000 yards of surprise and fear in his eyes looking forward.
You know,
Plus
Ned, there's
confusion because apparently I'm part of House Closed.
well,
Potentially.
Ned, apparently sometimes people go through traumatic events and their mind kind of just pushes those members in the back. So all you gotta do is hope that happens.
Yeah. Also, just a reminder: we're not letting Dom anywhere near that fucking belt.
Which belt?
The belt that the red one.
The red belt.
Yes, that the Grenaga clan is apparently going to come. Anyway, the whole thing. No fucking way.
The red belt. Red belt for Cusco. Cusco's belt. Got it. All right. So it looks like we have a demon lord to find out plans of next, huh?
Yeah.
So how are we gonna go about that? Are we just gonna walk in and be like, "Hey, yo, what you up to?"
I feel like that might work, but the chances of it are somewhat low.
I
Maybe-
mean, hey, that shock factor of it's like, hey, what's a mortal gonna do with this information, anyways? You know?
I guess.
Listen, I'm literally just spitballing the stupidest things that come to mind. Please don't take anything I say to heart. This is me as Kazanok saying that. This place is doing things to my mind.
We could also go to Grandpa, as he seems to have a better idea of potentially what's going on.
Yeah, I guess yeah, I mean, that's true. However, I know he's the one who made that system and kills people he doesn't find interesting, which is why he made the system. So I don't know, man.
Well, y'all have a relatively high number, so hopefully that'll be.
I'm worried about you, buddy.
Do we?
Look, all I'm saying is he probably will find it too boring to kill me. And we do need some kind of information before we walk into that throne room, or we might just immediately die. And I mean, we could ask around, but I don't know how well that's going to go over.
Huh. Well, I guess we're gonna go meet Grandpa.
As Kez says that, a dark black and purple spell circle begins to surround the three of you and Guide. as Guide begins to whisper something in a strange language, and immediately you teleport in front of this, what looks to be a large open sparring arena with just sand in it, some rough wooden stands off to the side where large demonic creatures seem to be cheering and screaming on the opposite side of you guys. About half a mile, which is about how long this fighting arena is, sits what looks to be a very old humanoid looking creature in what looks to almost like a long grayish beard, heavy moss and stone like armor all over his body, two large horns kind of sticking out of his head as he looks over towards you lot. I had a picture for Grandpa, but I deleted it. Damn it.
Incomprehensible. He is in World War II veteran attire.
I know, right? Excuse me.
He has flannel and a...
No, with his heavy moss, he kind of sits across on the opposite side on this thick, on this really large rock that looks to be almost slightly indented, with him sitting onto it. A couple of small pit fiend-like creatures stand off to either side of him that seem to be kind of almost in full Oventium armor that is almost to the nines engraved with arcane runes, as well of all different schools of magic. And a small, what looks to be Baylor, kind of about 5 feet tall, walking around with a drink tray, handing him a large keg or a large casket in almost what looks to be a giant skull of some sort of alcohol. As he takes a drink, Guide seems to slightly shake a little bit. As you lot find yourself suddenly kind of standing in front of this massive arena, the sounds of people cheering as two fiend-like creatures that look to be almost 100 armed demons that are like long and snake-like, beating each other as the sounds of their impact smack into the sky. You would recognize this almost immediately as the legendary, as it is literally depicted as the most dangerous creature to have ever existed in the material plane, or rumored to have existed in the material plane. I'm gonna butcher this. Hecamontanti?
Hecatonchires.
Thank you.
Hecatonk.
Which is a 100-man corpse, like pile of a creature. It is noted as the strongest creature to have ever existed. As these two creatures begin battling it out and smacking each other in the center of the arena. As they go about it, you kind of stand at the entrance to this massively open, almost battlefield. Ned kind of looks at you lot and kind of looks down at his tree and goes over to a little water stand where there's some water and starts kind of like pulling, cupping some out and pouring onto the tree.
I wonder if the water's poisonous here.
I mean, they did. Well, no,
Yeah.
but I trust the druid with the druid thing. Hopefully,
You sure?
well, it's his burden to bear, and honestly, if he doesn't make it through the grove, I don't know if that's such a bad thing, having met his grove leader.
But what if failing the grove is what brings him closer to insanity? I mean, I'm one to talk. Apparently, I'm 120 plus in my end days.
Look, I feel like the 120 at this point is just asking the endless what if questions.
Hey, man, listen, never let them know your next move, all right?
I will
But we
also,
don't know our next move.
as Eider says this, all of you give me will saves. This is a fear effect. Also,
that.
all those who can cast magic, I need a fortitude save.
Haha! Sucks to be you, nerds. I can't cast magic.
Shut up.
Eider, do you have any spells saved up?
No, I vented them all because I wanted to make sure I had spare in case she tried to like cast some kind of crazy ass fucking spell at me.
Okay, perfect. Yes, please do, Guide.
All right, so you said
Will and fortitude.
will and fortitude.
Well, I got
All
a
right.
2 on my will save, so
All right,
Oh,
Eider
that's
is
good.
already shaking with fear. And is also either, thankfully, because you don't have to do the fortitude save, so at the very least, you don't have to worry about any of the other side effects. You're just suddenly fear affected. You can still move forward. You are, though, at a -10 to all rolls when involved with the creature causing the fear effect, Grandpa.
Makes sense. I didn't expect to try and do anything to him anyway.
Ned, please give me a will and fortitude save while you're back. This is a fear effect reference.
So that is a 28 willpower and a what's that? A dirty 20 for fortitude.
You fail the fortitude save. You succeed the will save, so you are not feared. However, you do take 1 point of poison damage for every spell slot you currently have available.
Alright, let's take a look.
21 succeeds. Ned, you just barely made it. But with the will save, Ned, you are fear affected. As I mentioned to Eider, you can move forward. You are just at a disadvantage of -10 with all rolls when it comes to Grandpa. 16. Sorry, Guide. Also, Guide, you also failed your will. So, you are also fear affected and poisoned.
Alright.
But as...
And of course, the slot damage also accounts for the 0 slot, right? So it's
yes,
like
correct.
the cantrips.
Yep.
Okay, cool. 16 damage.
As you see this dark, almost aura, kind of like a purple sludge expanding out almost all around and leaking out of this area, you all get, without even having to do a check, overwhelming necromancy, divination, conjuration, and transmutation. An overwhelming, to put, is a understatement. There's just nothing higher. So...
I suppose if I wanted to stun myself, I could ask the stupid question of, is this guy evil?
I can confirm he's not, surprisingly. But,
The fuck?
he's not evil.
I feel like this dude is probably the most neutral guy out there.
But as you kind of stand there for a moment, you notice his guide starts to shake, and seems to kind of cough up for a moment. Eider succeeding, I believe it was, or Eider not having to do it. But,
No, I failed.
Yeah, my bad. Eider shaking his at the knees, Ned shaking at the knees as well, but succeeding in the fortitude
I
save.
pee myself.
As Kez, the light vomit from the purple liquid in your kind of getting into your nostrils, kind of just almost, it feels like you just breathed in a thick poison that nothing would cure. As you kind of cough it up and feeling the blood kind of coming out of your mouth. Whatever that creature is fucking strong. I will also note your holy symbol has gone for the first time in your entire life completely silent. You feel no sense of your god anywhere.
I just kind of, Grandpa hasn't even taken notice of us, has he?
No, he's watching the two fucking giant 100-armed creatures beating each other with swords, axes, and all other such, as people cheer with blood kind of getting splattered into the sky, where it lands, causing a little bit of burning on the smoke, or causing burning on the cobblestone, smoke causing a bit of smoke to come up.
Gotcha. So you look like bored,
Guide,
or-
also I will mention, turns and runs away. Or flies away.
This place makes me sick.
What was your question, Eider? Sorry.
Oh, does Grandpa look bored, or is he like actually engaged?
Give me a sense motive from where you're standing, because I will say you're about a half a mile away from him as he is sitting. So.
Sure. Oh, look, a -6.
He doesn't seem to have even noticed you. You know that.
Can I throw out a sense motive?
Sure.
Alright, let's see where this +5 is gonna get me. 18.
18. As you look over, his eyes seem to have, no, he looks almost kind of uninterested and bored with the fight, as if he's seen this 100 times. You kind of, for a moment, as you stare at him, you watch as he yawns and starts to kind of wave over another cup from another skull as he begins to drink and just grabs the Baylor and starts to drown it inside the cup. Kind of looking as if he's laughing and then kind of letting the Baylor up once it's dead and tossing it aside as he finishes drinking the ale.
Hey, quick question, Ader. I know you're kind of shoring your timbers right now, but do you happen to know how fast those creatures can move?
What, Baylor's?
No, the thing's fighting right now.
I don't think there's a chance in hell I can make that check.
Oh, I'll take knowledge plans. It's a good check for this one. Or nature. I'll take either to see if you know.
17.
17. Let me pull up something real quick for my own knowledge. Thankfully, I've kept that as a copy just in case. You know it roughly, historically was known to be nearly as fast as a dragon. So about 100 to 150 feet per round is, every 3 seconds is roughly what it could do.
It can run as fast as the dragon flies, roughly.
Which would be very fast for Kez's own knowledge.
Yes. Have you ever seen bullfighting?
No.
Well, I might not make it out of this, but for some reason I have no fear right now, and the man looks bored. I want to give him a show.
Under no circumstances asked to fight or get anywhere near those two things.
No, I'm not going to fight him. I take off my cloak.
So this is one of those rare times as a DM. If I may make a recommendation.
Yeah?
Don't.
What, you don't want me to play Matador with many armed creatures?
Oh, no, I really do. That's why I'm telling you don't do this. Alright.
Listen, you know, okay, hold on, I'll give you a chance to think about it.
As you kind of take your cloak off, looking at the fear in both Ned and Ider's eyes.
She's like furiously shaking his head.
Hey, listen, guys.
I'm like inching away from Kez.
Listen, fellas, you gotta understand, I don't have a ranking of 120 plus for
If I make a note, both of these creatures are colossal in size. So, just so you know, that's 140 hit die.
Oh, like I said, I have no intention on fighting these creatures.
I don't know if you understand what colossal means in the speed category, but okay, let's go for it.
Hey, listen, you know, I think having them run around, me, you know, moving out of the way, having them run into each other, trying to get me, might be very entertaining. So, just to make sure that I'm not slowed down, I also take off my plate armor.
You see the crowd kind of starting to look over towards you, and Grandpa kind of sits up and you hear him whistle. The two creatures are immediately paralyzed and stop moving as they are about to swing at each other, blows inches from each other, as if they just almost had their entire body locked. And you hear the crowd kind of go quiet. And the roar from the old fiendish-like creature across the arena goes, "Are you going to actually do this?"
It'd be quite interesting, wouldn't you think?
If you can survive more than 3 rounds with these two, I'll give you whatever you ask for, mortal.
What the hell? Let's rock and roll.
If you die, your soul's mine. And he claps his hands loudly, and the entire, like, almost a thunder of sound is forced out.
Total!
And you are teleported into the center of the arena, with these two creatures on either side 10 feet from you. Please roll initiative. If the party is going to help...
21.
Oh, just Kesnanok. Not Ned and Eider, who are still standing there shivering and watch Kez just go up in a poof of black smoke. In between them. 21. Alright, I did not expect this fight. So give me a moment to write something down. Alright, Kesnanok, 21 you said?
Yep.
Fuck yeah. Let's see. What did I get? I have a 10 on that, so it's a 24 and an 18. Oh no. We're gonna call that pet 1. And pet 2. So I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you have a plan?
Honestly, my plan entirely is going to be moving within the space of these creatures and just essentially making them trip over themselves.
Now I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna ask you to call high or low on this.
Yeah.
And that's going to decide Grandpa's decision here of how he stands on the morality basis, as he is individually curious to see what you're going to do. So, call high or low. This will either be to your benefit or to your detriment.
High.
Okay.
Fuck.
All right, Grandpa, as soon as he teleports you
Yikes.
in, drops the paralysis spell instantly, allowing the creature to go first. And it is going to make an attack. Now, I have 100 attacks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll 10, and I'm going to use those for counting the 10 in a row to save myself time. I also want you to know, I have a plus 52 to hit.
I mean,
You
yeah.
only make like a certain amount of attacks because he's not big enough.
How big are you? Wait. Hold up. Oh, shit. Wait, I forgot Colossal too. Oh, no.
He's sized large, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Hecaton can
They
only
only
make
get
like,
they only get
10?
20 on him because of his size.
I only get 10. Fuck. Okay. Well, good to know. All right. Well, good news. You're only going to get hit 10 times. Okay.
I mean, granted, I'm almost certain they're all gonna hit, and I'll just get downed in the first shot, so... Wow,
So,
ain't that crazy.
does a 60 hit?
In my own world of make-believe, no.
As Kez
But
sees...
in reality...
And as Kez sees for a moment a view of him teleport forward, seeing the creature smiling with confidence as he holds his cloak out in front of it, and as you see Kez, the creature comes swinging down at you, and you easily dodge away. It goes charging into the crowd. The other one comes charging at you. You easily dodge out of the way of that one. It hitting the stands. You smile happily. And then reality snaps back in as you see those fists coming straight at you as you watch the weapons disappear from the hand of the creature at the very least. As all 10 blows come slamming into you. Do you want me to roll damage? Because
Come on, don't insult me with that.
let's go. Okay, you're right. It's fair. I'll roll damage only because we got. See, I might roll terribly. Who knows? Maybe by some magic you might live.
Oh, yeah.
Good news, it's just the hands, so, hey, that's great.
Whoa, ain't that crazy.
I mean, it's technically non-lethal. I don't think Hecatoncrease have improved unarmed strike.
No, so it's,
Batman just went to town on me.
Yeah. Nope, that's correct. Also, that's only his first round, technically. So that would be 20 d8 minus d8 minus 20. Minus 20. Wow. All right, that's fucking sucks. So you don't take any damage. No, I'm kidding. I think
Yeah, right, the negative. I actually heal by that much.
Alright, I found the actual sheet. It's supposed to be plus 20. I was wondering why that was set up like that. I was like, okay. No. I hate to give you the excitement and hopeful, but
Yeah,
you take
right,
470 points of damage as the first hit. Does 24 points knock you down?
Actually, I think the first 2 hits I would be like barely standing.
As-
The third hit would be the one that takes me down.
Eider and Ned, you watch the 10 colossal fists go down towards Kaz, who looks on, and as you're thinking in your head, move, move, get out of the way. Like anyone watching an accident basically fall in front on cable or on a movie. You watch as Kez takes the first punch and gets sucked into the ground, bouncing up as blood coughs out of his body. His eye is still there, though. He screams out in pain from the first hit. The second one slams him down again, leaving a greater dent in the ground. Kez, you are feeling the dents of the earth impacting and forming around you. As right before you lose consciousness, your body flips over and you see the hole perfectly like a snow angel in the ground where you and the fist have been imprinted in, as you feel the last one slam into your back and knock you completely into the ground
It's
unconscious.
like, damn, I got a great thing.
The creature seems to stop on the third hit and kind of like looks over and like stares at the large old man or humanoid like figure at the table or at the on the giant stone as he roars out in laughter and claps his hands. As he does, the creatures disappear and seemingly as you watch Eider and Ned, the scene of Kaz basically pulling out and bull or dealing with an angry bull manages to get these creatures to suddenly come at him once again, charging at him. He jumps out of the way easily as the creature slams into the side of the crowd, destroying into 1,000 pieces as it does, the second one following suit. And Grandpa seems to laugh and smile louder as the figure that you see this like almost of Keznok doing this kind of walks over to where the hole is and falls forward into it almost as if unconscious. As Kez, you feel your HP brought back to 1 as you suddenly awaken.
Ugh. Fuck.
What the fuck just happened?
No fear. Nothing.
Kez crawls out of the hole and shouts this out and gives like a thumbs up.
I put my hands up and drop it. It's like, yeah!
The crowd seems to roar as Grandpa claps his hands and laughs, and Kaz, Eider, and Ned, you are teleported right in front of him. Kaz, you are still bleeding. Every bone feels broken. Your nose is hurting. Yeah, go ahead.
Gonna cast a couple of healing spells real quick.
As you go ahead, roll those in the background as you start tapping yourself to heal. You feel the magic come through almost like you're having to force it, but it does respond. As Grandpa the Elder King goes, "Oh, I haven't laughed that hard in thousands of years. Oh, you remind me of Koyak. He was as headstrong as you and just as dumb. I couldn't let a great showman like yourself take a sacrifice like that, so let the demons of the territories think that you took on these two creatures single-handedly, and let none question this unless they question my authority." As you see his guards go quiet and like stand up straighter at that.
Thank you, grandfather.
I'm not your grandpa. Call me Elder King, or Elder works. I'm not related to any of you bastards. Now, what may I do for you, grand, amazing heroes? Please do stop wetting your boots. As he snaps his fingers and you feel the fear aura and the sickness dissipate.
I just kind of sag for a second, just like unsure how to like handle this like sudden loss of pressure.
Oh, I do apologize. In my old age, I've been dealing with creatures since the old Meza Kings that you all know them as. Even back then, my aura just gave everyone fear. I learned how to turn it off a few millennia ago now. Jesus, it's been that long. I do apologize. It's not often we get mortals down here, so most people have a better chance of standing up to it. Are you here to offer your souls to the arena, or I assume you're here to maybe, sir, be welcomed into my service, or maybe for another thing of whiskey? The demon whiskey down here is quite delicious. Kind of drinks from a skull.
Well, I hate to bore you, but we're here for information.
Oh, information can be interesting, of course. It depends on what you'd be willing to sell in exchange for it. A good show is a way to get you into my halls, so to speak, as he kind of giggles a little bit at that. But I assume if whatever you're all asking for is the same amount of offer. Also, your guide, He snaps his fingers, and Guide suddenly reappears, shaking and kind of standing there nervous, or flopping there nervously as he does. He goes, I will bring it back. I don't want you getting lost, and Alluvia would be very angry if I played with her toys. As he snaps his finger and the fear and poison effect dissipating from Guide. He looks over to Eider and Kez and the Ned expectingly, waiting to see what your request is.
Kind of like think for a moment, and then just like pull out the book and just like flip to like the near back of it and just kind of like tap the picture of Chal. We've been asked to find out more information about him.
Yes. Okay.
And, well,
We want to know what his
to-
plans are.
We're supposed to walk in and find out what his plans are. Given how terrifying he is and how terrifying you are, we were hoping you might have information that might lead us to not immediately die upon walking in, to be able to actually, accomplish our task.
Well, that's it.
Well, we all did have like some ancillary
No.
business that.
No, I mean, that's its plan.
What?
You just looks
in.
at you and kind of goes, are mortals these days not... Oh, okay. You just... You walk in and he kills you. That's it.
Oh,
The creatures, well, so to speak, not from this plane of existence. My understanding is he eats and fights anything that's interested in. Now, I'm guessing your god has an interest in the cult that's following him, and that I can't answer. That's probably what you're looking for, and that you're going to have to go find the book that he's got in his throne room. Unfortunately, that's also, from my experience, where he enjoys eating. I've sent a few of my younger apprentices over there to prove themselves, and they couldn't even bring back a leg or even injure the little bastard. Thousands, hundreds of millions of years down the drain for nothing, I tell you. God, he's eaten 5 of them just this week. I'm debating if I'm going to have to go down there next.
How would one make themselves inedible to a person like that?
Oh, that's easy. I've sent, Guide here's been into the castle multiple times. He's able to go as he wishes. There's a few of, the youngsters at my, dojo here that, serve. Let me see if I can find them. And he kind of, looks about the crowd as he does so, kind of smiling for a second and goes, where is he? Ah, there he is. And he snaps his finger, and this gnoll-like creature appears in front of you. And he goes, "Yes, individual is disguising himself." And he snaps his fingers again, and you see a large storm giant kind of appear out and expand. And he goes, "This is Glutara." As you look at him, you see this very simple look to him as a storm giant. Looks almost as if there's no lights upstairs. Bright yellow eyes, bald, is fully shaved. His fully shaved face. A lot of wrinkles across his face. A little bit of a bigger gut that seems to protrude out almost unnaturally as you see what looks to be almost a hand looking like it's trying to push out of his stomach. The rest of him seems to be wearing just a little bit what looks to be basic leathers of a blackened leather, kind of just covers him enough. Some leather trousers and some leather boots. As he kind of looks at you and goes, "Huh, wait, you can tell? Oh, shit. And Grandpa just kind of smiles and goes, individuals like this that are weak and walk in and out freely. A spider, like any seeks only prey that's going to feed it. Creatures of inadequacy, such as Glutaro here, and the rest of the Grunaga clan would be an example of a weak clan that can't manage to even whet the creature's appetite."
Actually, Ada, do you want to get this guy's thumb in the book to see what his score is?
just gotta shrug and gesture out with the book. Is do you mind?
Who are you gesturing to?
The guy, the storm giant.
Oh, the storm giant Glutoro.
Mhm.
Grandpa just kind of gives a nod over as well when you say that, and Guitar kind of huffs and sticks his finger on. As you read, it reads, Glutara the Village Eater, critical ranking 75, member of the Grunaga family, brother to Ogarin, grandson to the first giant king, the Dark King, current owner of the Dark Tower of Sacrifice, as well as heir to the Grunaga throne.
Huh. Well, did you look at that? I mean, if he's not enough to be considered worth this guy's time, I think you two would definitely be able to get by unnoticed.
Grandpa kind of laughs at that and goes, Kaznanak, my dear boy, you think you're worth anything down here? Shoot, your god couldn't even manage to kill a commoner. I watched her try. She thought she'd invade when she first came here. Oh, she did try, but I thought she'd be a great challenge for me, but she couldn't even make it past the guards of the city. And they're some of the weakest lot around here. I've seen commoners that could beat up the guards. I mean, it's just truly sad. If you think yourself any more capable than the other two bimbos here, as he kind of nods to them, well, I do appreciate your amazing showmanship. Don't get yourself twisted here. I don't want you with a large head. You're not worth enough to kill.
Well, hey, that's good to know. Honestly, I was just going off that ranking system that you made.
The ranking system is only at the peak of your power. It tells me if you're worth killing. Most people don't realize what the peak of their power is because most people can't comprehend it, so the book can't comprehend it. Simply put, it's basically whatever your imagination puts you at. So if you think you're going to become a god, it puts you at that ranking, what you'd be equivalent to. If you think yourself no more than who you are, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're not going to rank very high in that book.
Hater, buddy. Really?
What? I've been keeping my head down just trying to survive. I don't have time for bullshit.
Damn. We gotta get that confidence up, bud.
I sure as shit don't.
Nonsense. We'll get you as crazy as I am at some point.
You've seen the bullshit I have to deal with?
We deal with the same bullshit!
Grandpa smiles at that and goes, Oh, young Eider, you have no idea what your path lies ahead. You'll be sitting in my throne here soon enough with all the crap you're gonna be following. It'll be a good time. You're already marked by the cataclysm. I can see it on your neck. You're destined to either falter and fail horrendously, or you're gonna become a legend that nails down in the history books to never be forgotten. Each of you are.
Go big or go home!
Woo! Now, with that said, would any of you like to offer up your souls for power of that ability now? As he kind of like pats his gut. I can give you all the experience I've ever had. You just got to offer your soul.
But my soul is promised to another deity.
Oh, the mother is weak. She is no mother of mine. At best, she is a harlot who serves at my beck and call. Please, she couldn't even be blessed to suck me off. Allow me to give you something that would be grander, a power that you can use to change this world. I don't care if you wish to kill undeath, then make that your holy mission. I will back you with everything I have. Why take a weak goddess when you can take the king of gods, the most powerful being of existence, a being that makes even your gods that are beyond your comprehension fear?
Because she was there when I had nothing.
Was she?
You certainly weren't.
You are true, young Kesnanak. I was not. But I can offer something you seek. If you're willing to offer and take this deal, my young Kesnanak, I can give you the name and the whereabouts of the one who's given you that curse, to give you the blessing to kill them, to take back what was yours. I know where they lie, and I just so happen to be able to send you there right after this. I'm not asking for you to die, and I promise your soul won't be tormented into a radish or tossed into my arenas to fight. No, you will serve a special spot at my table. So why not? You've always wanted to be more powerful, to shape the world, to bring it to the light and banish the undead, kill the one who's cursed you. As you feel the darkened smoke kind of almost coming from his mouth, kind of starting to envelop you, you begin to feel a light pull, but he doesn't seem to be trying to forcibly persuade you.
I'm sorry, Elder King, but some would say I'm loyal to a fault. And, well, I am what I am. I'm going to have to refuse your offer.
Soon, Kaznok, as the large man stands up, as the stone cracks under him, his muscles starting to expand, and you start to see as his body inflates, almost kind of going from this hefty, wide humanoid to now almost a giant of a man, muscles rearing out everywhere as you can feel the power intensifying off this individual. He goes, "But soon enough your goddess will abandon you, Kesnanak, and when they do, I will be here to offer you a place, and you will take it. But for now, I would rather have my second in command come to me willingly. What information elsewise can I offer your charming party? And beyond this interest in Shawl's own personal interests, what else do you seek?"
The Mesa Kings, and said that their unsealing is part of Cataclysm's coming, and the splitting.
That is correct. Once they come into being, the magic will influx and will make a crack. Creatures like me then will be able to break into the material plane and take control of it. I haven't ruled there in so long. I would love to watch and see how the flesh tears in this age. I must ask, as many of you seem to be living, is it still make that cracking sound, or are you all more tearing and ripping? I'm curious these days.
Honestly, it's a little bit of both.
You spoil me. I cannot wait. I've always wanted to hear what an ancient dragon sounds like when you rip its head off and see it when it's breathing its flame and see if it makes an interesting singing sound. But your question, yes, what was it?
How do we kill them?
I was only able to defeat 4 of them at once, but never kill any. I could give you something that could tell you how to, but I mean, that would be a lot of power for you to get for nothing in exchange. I mean, you're asking for me to offer you something to avoid a major path in the near future that could gain me power beyond anything I've ever seen. New battles that I've not gotten to fight. Truly, young Eider, what can you offer me that would be grander than this?
Entertainment.
Of? And
You get to see us struggle and try.
You're willing to offer me up a permanent scrying on your party in exchange for the information on killing them?
I'd say myself, if I'm the one that's making the deal. I can't but well make deals on other people's behalves.
He looks over at Kez and Ned and goes, "Do you agree with your compatriot? Would you be willing to offer up a permanent scrying on you in exchange for the information on how to kill these 9 Mesa Kings?" As he plays with his beard.
I mean, I guess.
And looks at Kesnanak.
Their offers are their own. I do not wish to have you looking over me at all times.
Well, then sadly, there's no deal. Unless you have something else of offer. Your soul? Your firstborn? The right to your end. As he looks about the 3 of you.
I'll be making no deals today, gentlemen.
Word. Even an offer of maybe the information of this one, as he points to Kesnanok's goddess. I would love a chance to see her grovel at my feet once more.
What if I come back to fight you? The height of my power.
Kind of looks at you for a second and pulls out his the spell book on the side of his hip and takes it off and kind of begins to look at it for a second. Pulls out some reading glasses for a moment, puts them on him, and they kind of slide down his nose a little bit. So he flips through the book and goes, Eider Frosthorn, of the Treasurehorn and Frosthammer clans. Merchant, low ranking, lacking in power. Future of killing gods, telling off the gods themselves. Quite an accomplishment if you manage to survive. And with this lot, you'll save the world once more. Oh, great, you're the rendition of heroes of this era. But it does make an interesting and intriguing offer. I haven't fought a hero in 100,000 years, and the last one was... Because he kind of looks over at Glutoro, goes, fat. Glutoro just head down and like curl out a little sobbing sound. I tell you what, your end is promised by my hand, and no one else's until our fight. If you beat me, your soul is given back. Otherwise, your soul is not claimable by any other but me. I think that's fair. Whenever you die, that'll be when we make our bout. Live or die. That'll be what you have to live. You have to accept that decision.
All right. Well, sorry. Before I accept that, based on my own knowledge, I don't like lose my soul in like the metaphysical sense, right? It's just like it is where it's preordained to go.
That depends. So for the knowledge you've rolled earlier, you know what, Hire? Let's make it fresh, because this would be for knowledge planes, or I'll take a knowledge religion in this case, because this would be a lot to do with the afterlife or the plane, depending on. You'll get different answers depending on what you roll. So.
Gotcha. God, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to like debate which one I'm more interested in, because a lot of the Incarnum stuff works off of soul, like my own damn soul. So there's like a major implication on like a personal level of like not being able to do my magic anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's up to you on this as far as it goes. I will say you've seen Luvia using magic down here, so assumedly, based on common sense, if your soul was able to inhabit a body and you weren't pushed into a coin, as you already know could happen, you would, in theory, still be able to use your magic to the fullest extent. You just wouldn't be able to use mundane items from the material plane when you died. Seemingly, it seems like many of those down here have magic items as well, so you assume you'd probably be able to get your magic equipment replaced if you needed to, or get the materials needed.
Let's see. I'll go with Arcana. 35.
And your question is just to see how much your soul would be rendered, or?
If I still like, because there is and like sort of like the more like settings that I'm used to, like there's the concept of being quote unquote damned, where you don't lose your soul, like you technically still have possession of your soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whenever you die, it's preordained where you're going, but it doesn't have like a physical manifestation or ramification immediately.
Yeah, with that, and that's was that a religion or a planes roll?
It was the it'd be a religion.
Religion. So you'd know that basically the gods work in the way that if you worship them, that's where your soul is preordained to go. So if you worship Grandpa in the material plane for some weird reason, your soul would be guaranteed to go here into Abaddon, almost guaranteed just by the worship and what you'd have to do. But you would still keep your soul in a sense. You would still be in control of your fate while here, but you would be sent to the plane of existence where your god is at, in a sense. Now that's if you worship and serve them. If you lose your soul, that is when your entire being is owned by another individual, and they decide how much power you have, depending on how powerful the individual is, of course. based on the religion, you would know that some hypothesize that devils of Moors are able to keep you fully in a coin, or if they're powerful enough, or they are able to choose to control your magic if they want to, or as some would state, they can take away your physical abilities, shrinking you and wizening you and torture you as they wish. Basically, they have full control over your body, but only if they equate to a certain level and ability. Lower demons or devils are believed to be unable to do more than turn you into a coin or allow you to serve them, basically.
Gotcha. So what Grandpa's offering is more like along the lines of basically being a quasi worshiper of him.
No, he's offering to own your soul, basically, in a sense. You're coming here, and you're betting your soul on a fight with him. And means no god can claim it. So if a god decides to come down, smack you, and says, "Hey, I'm going to take your soul," Grandpa's going to kill that god.
Okay.
And then if you beat Grandpa at the end, he's basically saying, "Hey, you get to go free, but if you lose, you now serve me. So your powers, everything about you is in my service. I own your soul." So you will be owned by him, but he did mention, as stated, that you'd be his number 2. So that's up to you on how to decide. Also, Ned, can I ask to get a spot check in the background?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I just voice up. All right. As long as you don't try and pull any tricks as far as yanking the chain before anything comes, so to speak.
Nothing.
19.
Thank you. Nothing is more fun than watching as though a succulent fruit grow into maturity and grow wide and rich and ripe. I've been alive for more millennia than I can count at this point, and trust me, it's more fun to watch. I have no interest in killing you early. You will die at your ordained time or of your own choosing. I will not have any influence over it. But if a god decides to kill you, there will be repercussions.
Just kind of like nod slowly and just kind of like push my hand forward and say, "Fine. I'm going to beat the brakes off you, you old bastard."
Kind of smiles at that as he offers his hand out to you. As you go
Shake
ahead.
it up hand.
Yeah.
Shake it a hand.
Yeah, as you shake his hand, a pact is written and seems to lock. You feel the magic kind of expand out all around you all. Ned, as you kind of are looking about watching this for a moment, you notice Guide kind of puts a light claw on your shoulder, where you're on the same shoulder of where you're holding the plant, and seems to kind of like then lightly pull it away as you look back at it.
Can I turn my attention to Guide?
Yeah, as you look over to Guide, as this contract is sealed, Grandpa kind of smiling and laughing, you turn over and Guide just stares at you.
Why are you pulling on
Shake-
my tree?
I shake my head no.
The creature shakes its head to the side, right and left, saying no.
Okay. I'll like pull the tree in tighter.
Like an old lady walking through a bad neighborhood with her purse. Yep. This guy just kind of flutters up in the air a little bit higher above you all and just kind of seems to watch pleasantly. Grandpa seems to kind of noticing this, turns over and goes, the creature seems to be quite fond of you, young Ned Grassentrees. I would be concerned and want to check your pockets that it doesn't try and go home with you.
I will keep that in mind.
Smiles and laughs and goes, "Now that the deal has been settled, what do you want to know?" As he kind of drinks the ale, giving a loud hiccup as he sits back down, his belly growing back up and his body shrinking back down into the seat of the rock. He looks over at you, Ida, and goes, "I can't even remember what I agreed to. What did I agree I was going to give you in exchange for this?"
You're going to tell me how to kill the Mesa Kings.
"Oh, yes. That's easy. Well, The easiest way is to seal them back into the objects, and then just disenchant the magic inside it. There's a spell that's really easy to use. You can use 14th level magic, right?
I was just like kind of like smart ass grin is like, in a manner of speaking.
Oh, perfect. It's a spell specifically designed by Biara and her sister. Basically, the enchant was supposed to go off. It didn't go off, from my understanding, because Biara got sealed in her own book. Because, as we demons like to do, her sister betrayed her and stuck her in her own book. Almost as dumb and far weaker than Ella Ugbo. At least Ella Ugbo figured out that if she made some followers, she'd have a longer-term plan and everything would work out. Iskal, Biara was an idiot for that. But basically, you get this spell, in my understanding, the only way to find it is if you bring together the Fae and Fiend sealing books, and the two of them together allows you to translate the last page in both that lets you read the spell. Problem for you, and I do have an unfortunate news for you, as he kind of makes a little imagery appear, and you see the image of Doots, what looks to be gray-skinned elf walking around with a large. Let me ask you something. When you see, or I'll explain the rest of the party, and then I want to ask you what you would assume you'd see as a fourth party member, and there's a reason I asked this for each of you. But as you see the other ones of a large, what looks to be almost what you recognize as a Thri-kreen classification of a creature, this bug-like creature walking around with it. And then the third one looks to be a blue-skinned, if I remember correctly, for Azurus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, making sure that was right. Almost beautiful-looking noble that seems to be djinn-like in appearance, looking similar to a lot of the commoners out on the street. A light, almost nobleman's outfit across them, and a large coat on their back. As you see this individual, he kind of the imagery dissipates. Now, as you see those three, there is a fourth member. What would you expect to see, Eider, as I describe those three? And I know that's a weird question, but I have to ask it.
I'm guessing like a large, like kind of bipedal tiger that like just walks on its knuckles.
That's exactly what you see in heavy, thick leather and wearing a headband on its head, walking beside them.
Oh my God, it's Tony the Tiger.
Keznok and Ned, both of you also see exactly what you're thinking of would be as a fourth member to a party like this. If you're picturing another fire giant, you see a fire giant. If you're picturing yourself, you see yourself in the leather armor and wearing this strange bandana or like crown around their head, crown ringlet around their head. And as Grandpa kind of shows this imagery, he goes, "The Grey Elf has the book. Unfortunately, unless you plan to make friends with those who plan to bring the apocalypse and the end of the world, my expectation is you'll be looking for the other book. So that one should be a little bit easier. It's in the creature named Fikfi. I believe she's a dragon lord," as he puts air quotes up. Dragon Lord all these days. I'll be Dragon Lording my nuts on her face for what I'm planning to do afterwards seeing this thing. She is a pretty little dragon, I tell you that, as he kind of smiles at that. And he goes, "That's her mountains." He shows, it kind of zooms into her, a castle inside the mountain, into the throne room where you see a bunch of bards playing music, what looks to be people dancing, what looks to be this beautiful red scaled small dragon kind of sitting in their in a large golden throne, laughing and singing along, and it kind of zooms past to behind the throne to what looks to be a wall, and it goes through into a empty chamber where it falls back, and you see a Lachey woman in what looks to be thick ice, completely frozen, and just like standing there, naked as a jaybird, on one side of the room, and on the other looks to be a little lectern with a mithril encased book that looks to have a traditional like nymph, or not nymph. Sorry, what's the term? Fairy. Term. Give me a second. I'm gonna look up the actual term. Pixie, thank you. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, it's not Pixie, and I was like, I know it starts with like. So you see the Pixie, Nixie, and a third one that seem to all be depicted on the book. All three kind of looking out with different gemstones in their eyes. Two green, two red, and two blue. And down at the bottom, it looks to read in some sort of strange language. At this point, you're starting to recognize the runes of Abyssal to know enough that this is some sort of Abyssal. And as he shows this and goes. Oh, Grandpa kind of smiles and goes, "It looks like you're gonna have a good old heist. If you want that thing, I think I should be able to break into her vault and steal it. I don't know who the woman is. It's a fine-looking elf, though. I might have to get a scrying thing set up in there one day. You mortals."
I suppose Lachey looking familiar, does she?
I'll say, yeah, you did just see his face. They do look very surprisingly similar to the Lachey that's carrying the other book that was called Dutes, that Grandpa mentioned.
Oh,
I will
only know
also
the
say
other-
they identically look like, and it did just click in my brain, don't worry, that it looks identical to the person you fought, not a little while ago.
Yeah, that's the exact reason why I was asking, because we did have the lore powwow where he just found out that it's just a line of the same person.
Ned, Kez, and Eider, you do recognize Valthana frozen in ice.
I wonder which one this one is. Maybe it's the second. Maybe it's the first.
Well, at least it looks like we probably have time to go to that tomb.
The Grandpa smiles at that and laughs and goes, "I don't think you got much to worry about. If your plan is to go steal the weapons, the Regan Utham fella, he's already screwed up completely. He's put too many of the items near each other and doesn't realize that they're starting to feed off each other's magic. One of the three is going to take all the magic from the other two, and that's going to shatter the other two seals immediately, and then the third one's going to come out with a ton of power in it. I don't think he's been smart enough to catch on to the fact that those things can gather magic from a continent apart. Oh, yeah, that's why we sealed those things in tombs for a reason. It was because of the fact that we didn't want anybody having the damn things. I put one of them underneath a pyroclastic dragon. Apparently that didn't work.
Oh.
It's
Find
like,
that
you found what?
guy. Well, we found his tomb. Guess that makes sense.
Oh, that's where Cataclysm marked us, right?
Yeah.
Kind of looks at you and goes, "Really? Here, I'll give you the name momentarily, don't worry. Yeah, smile and goes, God damn. Interesting. If you found the grave, then that means you of course found my shield and the armor and all of my massive trove of magic items that were left behind by that pyroclastic dragon demon lord. There are so many valuables down beneath that thing that would have been great in this situation. I didn't know you heroes were so well equipped. Young Eider, I think you might be ready to fight me as is, if that's the case."
Oh no, they've long since been stolen.
"You found a treasure trove."
Already
treasure
mostly
rat.
ransacked.
Kind of looks at you and nods and goes, "And
There were other dragons there.
Supposedly.
he just sighs heavily.
What do you want from us? We're a day late.
He just kind of nods and he goes, the story of every adventure that exists." Yeah, he nods. As well, I recommend you you manage to find some of those items. They might be helpful to you. Otherwise, if you can't, anything to deal with these creatures, my best advice for dealing with them is the fact that they gain power by slaying evil or beings of opposite their alignment, or of their alignment, not in between. Which means that those that seem to be locked into a certain alignment seem to be more capable, and those who have a certain moral code seem to follow it. It is a concern that those items be put in the presence of any who have or share their abilities as well, or their interest, as if they do, they're more likely to fail and be drawn to the item. For example, as he kind of highlights, in the near future, it looks like that same group, funny enough, those that had that dude's fella, they're going to sell a bottle that has a ship in it that has the strongest of the 9 sealed inside. Well, technically, not the strongest. He is the strongest martially. If you're run by raw power, technically that'd be Belf. But he's already out and about, so there's not much you can do about that one. That one, but Meadmancer should be taking over, Czar. Yes, it looks like, is his name? Something about a gold heart? That ring any bells to you?
It's a merchant company.
He nods and goes, well, if this prediction is correct, now given this is a 20% to show accurate, so I can't tell you if this is going to come forth. This is going to be sold by to an individual by the name of Geese, and when it's purchased, it's going to be given over to the owner of this merchant organization, group, company, whatever it is. Apparently, at that point, the individual will fail to save and turn his entire merchant company into an evil empire. Oh! Even slay some... that'll be interesting, as he kind of smiles and looks over. Grandpa looks over at you, Ida, with almost like licking his lips for a second with excitement, goes, looks like you'll be, getting to meet your first match here a lot sooner than we both thought.
Oh, damn it.
If you can't get rid of the magic and you can't seal them away and they've already broken out, I mean, besides killing them, which would be the easiest way, Plethmora is somewhere within the town. I know that... Oh, no, sorry, Fratigian is somewhere in the town, my apologies. I don't know where she vanished off to. I haven't been able to sense her magic since she arrived. Beyond her, we're killing each of them. I mean, you could try and steal their magic. They are beings of pure magic. That is one of the downsides of what they managed to do.
I just like light bulb moment is like, oh.
Oh, I mean like all of their magic. It's not an easy thing, but in theory... as long as they're not fully capable yet, which will take them time to recharge, as they gain their magic similar to what you know of elves. They don't just have their magic once they reawaken. It'll take time for them to grow strength, so the quicker you find them, the quicker they're able to be killed. Problem is, they weren't able to survive like they did without reason. You could also try the masks. That's something. Those could also be if you could figure out how to reseal the creatures, but that'd be the theoretically stupidest idea, unless you're down for sacrificing your entire mental capabilities. They were created in a sense to merge together and then trap the powerful kings in them. But the problem, of course, is those who wear the mask lose all sense of themselves and basically become... kind of thinks for a second as he scratches his beard and kind of takes a sip from the ale and goes, neutered would be the kindest way to put it. Almost as if your entire personality and ability to cast is cut off from the material plane. You lose all sense of magic and of self in exchange for these kind of power. And there,
distant plan D.
Grandpa nods at that and goes, I'd really hate to fight you if you're going to be boring. It'd be more interesting if you did something else. You could also try and just kill them with the magic items that they were sealed into. Not like the one specifically they were sealed into, but like the others. You'd have to figure out how to dominate them, awaken them, and force those inside to serve you. But in theory, it's possible. Any demon can be forced to serve a more powerful will than its own. Or a will that it has interest in seeing rise. It just takes the interest of the individual. That's all I can really offer. Beyond that, you're pretty much on your own for figuring it out. If you can't figure it out with all that, well, your party's more doomed than you think. The guy smiles at that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so the Mesa Kings are the ones that are inside the weapons?
He nods. As the Great Nine. That guy takes a second and goes, it'd be, let's see, last I recalled... Fratigian, shoot, what was Flame's name? I don't even remember. I think they called them the Singing Deniers in your language. That one's an interesting one. Maidmancer, Kayak, Koyak, Plethmora, Ogum, Belth, Biara, and well, last one is a one I can't even speak of. The one that beat me in combat.
Which one is inside Wolfsbane?
That'd be Kayak. Kayak was a sniveling runt, cried a lot. Was the brother of Koyak. Couldn't cast magic, lacked for any capabilities. Good to a fault, but wouldn't follow the law, wasn't chaotic by any natures. But God, he sniveled like no other. You punched him in the face, he cried. You punched him in the gut, he cried. You punched him in the arm, he cried. And I kept hitting him, he just kept crying. It was such a problem. But he's a good chap, probably the youngest of the lot, not too early capable. I'd imagine probably the easiest to bond with. Why? What's your interest?
The last bit, really?
Good luck. You're not demon material personally. You're kind of fated to be quite weak, given your personality. Demons like beings who are full of themselves. Kesnanok and Ned Air are both quite eccentric individuals in their own belief of themselves. One of them believes he took over a grove by just showing up one day. The other thinks he's going to be the champion of a god. Now, that's a funny decision, especially how prideful and lacking you are in your own god's beliefs. Jesus. He just kind of eyes you up and down, Kaz.
You say that, but you did accept my challenge. So you must see something in me. Otherwise it'd just be boring.
There is a potential for what you're going to do is going to cause the splitting, and I'm curious if that's what kind of power that you'll have. That is all I will give you. You are about as interesting to me right now as a small puppy. You're cute, cuddly, and I kind of want to smash your head in.
Well, we have a weird demon lord to go see.
He nods. Don't die. I can't kill that one.
Wait, really?
Zyders turns around and says that. He goes, not easily.
But then wouldn't it be more entertaining than sitting around?
Entertainment versus stupidity is a very thin but strong line I like to stick to.
Kind of nods, shrugs, and starts like walking away.
Kez and Ned, are you following?
I got no reason to be here.
Alright.
Yep.
Alright. A guide starts to kind of guide you guys towards the center of town if you're heading towards the central palace.
Yep. Our plan is, I guess, to just walk in the front door because, fuck if we've got a better option.
Because we're not worth it, right, gentlemen?
Yep. Think humble thoughts. Think less megalomania.
Alright, as you lot begin to kind of head there, guide kind of shows you the way, guiding you to what looks to be a small or a rather wide bridge that leads up to a massive skull, more horns sticking out of it. No guards that can be seen, and the doorway or the gateway pulled up completely with a large sign that's been pushed in that's written in a blackened blood-like material that says "Come in if strong." Though the F is written backwards, the S is written upside down, which doesn't actually matter, and the T seems to be completely on its side, as well as it is written in 3 other languages. One seems to be Infernal, if any of you speak Infernal, and the last seems to be in Abyssal.
I didn't pick up any of the planar languages, actually.
Fair enough. As you see the massive walls made of thick black thorn-like material, almost bone in their design, they seem to protrude up almost 4 stories out with large spikes coming out of them. The what looks to be individuals pierced, although from the distance where you're standing on the other side of the bridge, or opposite side of the bridge to the gate, it's hard to make out what the creatures were, but they look to be large fiend-like creatures that have been pushed onto the wall and pierced through completely. Behind the walls, you can see only one building that seems to stick out over the walls themselves, and it looks to be a large blue tower that, even from here, you can tell looks to be almost icy in its design. The cold, chilly white wind that seems to blow off of it, as well as the snowflakes kind of giving a dead giveaway, as the tower seems to almost dominate the back right of the castle itself. As you kind of stand outside the walls, the gates fully open, almost welcoming you in, if you will. As you all head in, kind of looking about, you see off to the right what looks to be a large open building with windows completely shattered, a couple of corpses shoved into the wall, or into where the glass was. It's completely broken through. Some bones or some skulls that seem to kind of be decorated about the building on the right, kind of almost in a macabre, shoved into the stone to look like they were put there as a decoration, but violently. The building inside, you can see immediately what looks to be a circlet pretty clearly, even from here, that has a star of skulls kind of dominating the center of the room with nothing else really in there. To your left, you see what looks to be a closed-off church-like building, a steeple, if you will, that seems to be blocked off with a couple of boards closing it up. Two look to be probably guards at one point, as they looked similar to the common guards out in the streets that you had seen, that are pit fiend-like, that are completely smashed up against the walls of the church on the left. In the center looks to be a pretty large open courtyard that you all walk into. A weird-looking, almost fleshy tree of pink goo with little eyeballs, kind of slightly protruding up in a stump-like format. A couple of little, almost single sticks of flesh kind of pushing up as if this stump is trying to regrow slowly. A single eyeball at the very tip of it, and they all seem to look over towards you lot as you come into the courtyard. Just in front of you, it looks to be another open building where you see two large doors have been shoved off the hinges, the windows completely shattered, and inside a few what looks to be large, long wooden, almost like pews, been crashed and crushed and tossed about the room. You can see inside what looks to be the glittering black eyes of something moving about, but the creature does not seem to do or make or say anything towards you lot as you walk into the courtyard.
Anybody else get an unexplainable feeling of danger?
Pretty much since I woke up.
Honestly, today's just been a day filled with that, to be honest.
This place sucks.
Worse than being in front of Grandpa?
At that mention of that name, you hear a roar and go, "Are you more of the apprentices that have come to feast upon me?" No, the voices are biting me. You must be part of the voices. Are you the voices?
No.
Yeah, no, I'm one of the voices in your head.
You watch as a pew goes flying. Please give me a reflex save.
I'm not good at those.
Oh, you don't have your armor on, remember that. You haven't put it back on yet, so you've just been carrying it with you.
True.
I mean, it technically doesn't affect the reflex.
I don't think it does
Yeah,
either,
I
but
know.
I figured I'd give the hope here.
Yeah, truth be told, yeah. Let's just say after this debacle, I'm gonna go put it back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18.
18, okay. One sec. You take 14 points of bludgeoning damage as the pew of wood slams into you and cracks across your body, almost eviscerating into splinters by the amount of force it hits you, and you are slammed into the ground almost immediately as you slightly bounce off of it, Kez.
Okay, I'll be quiet now.
The voices are quiet. Oh, I rest. Ah, I can hear them. What do you want? Why do weak creatures seek my domain? You can't even feed me, nourish me. I'll eat you. I'll splatter your remains across the board so they know not to come in again. What do you seek?
We're just here to help clean up a little bit around the castle. There's an ugly thing, a book. We're here to get it out of your way so it's not so troublesome to be in the way.
You would offer a challenge for this book?
We're so weak, we couldn't possibly.
Then you don't take anything of mine. It is all mine. Only the strong may claim what is mine.
Of course, but we don't want what's yours. It's an ugly thing. Somebody else left it behind.
Give me a bluff check.
Well, just a straight D20. Let's fucking go.
Hey, do you want some help? Oh, that's a 19, but do you want some help?
Maybe, I don't know. Go for it.
Listen, alright. I'll send some help your way. So it's a bluff, right?
Uh-huh.
Alright. $27.
How are you hoping? What are you doing out of curiosity?
I will double down and be like, yeah, there's tasteless things all over it. Not good to eat. Very nasty. Not worth the strongest creature's time.
Creature kind of stops moving about from side to side and goes, "You smell like him. Are you here to poison Shawl?
I
Are
don't
you
deal
the
with poisons.
cultists? Are you cultists? Are you here to worship?"
No.
Then the book is of no concern of mine. As the creature goes back to it, kind of seems to scuttle away, disappearing into the dark shadows, leaving you alone in the courtyard.
Hey, Ned, help me up.
All right, let's get this book. Get the fuck out of there.
I think I cracked 3 ribs.
I will help Kez up and
Okay.
also cast Cure Minor Wounds so he gets 1 HP.
Nice!
Thank you.
No golf clap.
I will begin, you know that panic, like, I have to shit my pants run that you do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I begin doing that the entire way in to try and find this book and leave.
As you go running in, Ned kind of grabbing Kez's arm, picking him up. Kez, you feel the warmth of the magic as it trance rolls over you, some of your wounds, and some of the bones in your body uncracking and unbreaking as you can actually stand now that your legs aren't broken anymore.
Yeah, after I get up, I'll cast my second to last level 2 spell.
Okay. Cure wounds.
So I got one more. Level 2 on me, but after that, back to 1s and 0s.
Go roll your healing, yeah. Okay. As Eider runs in, rushing in, Eider, you can feel the eyes still looking at you from the shadows as you walk into nothing but pitch blackness. And stumbling and walking about, you feel wet, something wet and fleshy under your feet as you kick something hard and feel it roll away from you. A light scream as a bunch of scuttling happens suddenly, and you feel the presence of the creature right behind you as you freeze. And then the thing you kicked, you feel almost as if there's something like stops near it, pulls it away, and then the creature seems to fall back, leaving you standing there for a moment.
Yeah, I just fight fear in my limbs, to walk forward. And find this fucking book.
Give me a search check to see what you can find. And for everyone else who's going into the dark throne room, in the absolute shadow where you can't see anything, please give me a search check if you're trying to assist. Guide, you are welcome to assist in this if you'd like. However, that is up to you based on your no lights upstairs mentality.
Guy you can see in the dark and is just looking for anything that looks.
Okay. 9. Nice, Eider.
You said my joke of a +1 was for only spot, not search, right? Or can it apply
no,
to search?
it would be for search as well for the
Ah,
yeah.
For my nose.
Yep. Are you gonna sniff out the book?
Yes.
Okay, I want to note you don't know what the book smells like, and you
Yeah,
are
that'd be
walking
a-
into a room full of dead things.
Yeah, so all I gotta do is find the thing that doesn't smell like a dead thing, right?
Okay.
I got an 8, so I think it's funny.
So yes, each of you feeling the cold fear of this creature being anywhere in this room right now, and the wet, fleshy bits. I imagine Ned suddenly is back to being a vegan, or vegetarian, as he hears the crunching of
Just
meat.
never eaten again.
Bro is going to drink like water and just flavored broth
The
for the rest of
muscle
his
and
days.
sinew underneath, the pieces of corpse that you kick past. As you lot do, Guide seems to kind of find something and slowly pulls you lot over towards it. As you feel your hands rest upon a book that you feel a heavy lock on as you kind of run your hands across it. Kez, Ned, and Eider, as you do, you hear from way above you on the ceiling the creature go, "Time for a hunt!" What are you gonna do? You all get a reaction. Would you like to use it?
Well, certainly he's not talking about us, obviously.
Is calling your god and asking for a pickup an option?
Well, what's in the book? Is these the plans?
You're holding, or you grabbed hold of a book it's dark. You can't see it, and Guide just seems to move your hand towards it.
Well,
The guide is supposed to be the guide, so I'm hoping it's the book.
I can see the book. Good for me, I guess.
So you're relying on the fact that Guide knows exactly what book you're looking for, and is smart
Right.
enough to realize said book. I
I'm
also
relying on the fact that this thing has not more than one book in his fucking castle.
I mean, listen, man, we can't leave until we know for sure we've got plans, or at least the knowledge that there is no plan. So shit, dude.
Either do you want to share your startling realization of Guide's intelligence?
Well, guide is a genius for an insect.
Yeah,
Absolute paragon of insect intelligence.
Yep. As you kind of think for a moment, you feel the ground behind you slam as something heavy lands on the ground, causing everything to shake. You feel books go dropping to the ground around your feet, all as the one you're holding seems to drop. And as the creature goes scuttling out of the throne room, you hear screams as something or someone had apparently entered the wrong gateway and is now being
See,
chased.
I told you.
Oh, I'm so glad that my predator instinct was on point and don't fucking run was a good idea.
All right, let's walk out of here into the light and see what this book is.
All right, as you step out with the book, you grab hold and kind of grab it from your feet, walking with it back out. As you hold it, you start to feel over it and start to feel something weird is there, Kez. And as you kind of rub your thumb against something, or rub your thumb around the cover, you suddenly feel a wet hole as you kind of lightly push your thumb into. Something bites you. And as you pull your thumb away, not taking any damage, you suddenly... Give me a fortitude save, please.
That's bullshit, but okay.
Alright, let's see what we got here today. I'm gonna do a different dice, just gonna mix things up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 23.
You gain an extra spell slot until your next long rest for every spell you have spell slot you have available.
Yo, that's fucking fire.
However, your thumb does start to itch insatiably.
Man, it's like that one time I wiped with poison ivy, except it's my thumb.
As you walk out into the light, as the three of you step out, you can hear the sounds of something being bitten and chewed in, as something, the wet smacking of something being devoured can be heard from the gateway. Or as you look over, seeing a large, dark spider's back, and thankfully not being able to see whatever scene is happening at the gate. You look down at the book and see a book that is locked with a large adamantine lock, and seems to have faces almost into the leather of the book itself that are, strangely enough, as you noticed, Kesnanok, after sticking your finger in, it's almost as if the faces are actually alive and seem to be a separate plane, in a sense that you're able to stick your finger into the mouth of the creature, and at the same time open the book, in theory, without pushing into the book, it's kind of strange. It's demonic, it's freaky, and doesn't have any words on it, but you're unsure if this is the book.
Hey, this book's all yours, guys. Just be careful, it bites.
As Kez says this, all the eyes on the face of the book, about 12 in total, look towards Kez all at once and open.
Oh God!
But the book does nothing otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's got a taste for manly fire giant storm giants.
Can you just ask your goddess if this is the right book? Because I have no idea now that we're actually here. I thought there would just probably be the one.
Well,
Because
did
this
she
thing did
send
not
us
seem
here?
like it read.
Well, did she send us here for a book or to find out his plans?
Well, we already found out his plans. According to Grandpa, he's just here to eat.
The screams of another person as what looks to be the upper torso of a kobold-kin-like creature that you recognize as an adamantine dragon kin that was in the middle of probably transforming, as half of its body looks to be kind of morphed out of shape, comes flying over the wall and lands into a bloody pile.
Hey, you alive, bud?
You look over at the body laying there, it does not move. The shock and surprise on its face as it seems to be almost looking over at you, though.
Yeah, hold on. I think I have something for this.
Kez kind of just hands the book over to Eider
Yeah,
and
here
kind of
you
walks
go,
over
Eider.
to the corpse.
Yeah, no, I got nothing. Sorry, dude.
You kind of look down at him, open up your little holy book, and then read through it, and like mark a couple things off, and look down and go, sorry, and kind of walk back over.
Yeah, sorry, may your soul find peace in whichever afterlife you go to.
As you take about 10 steps back over towards where Eider and Ned are standing, you watch as this spider-like creature in almost a flash of black grabs the corpse and disappears back into the throne room, and you hear a wet chewing sound coming from inside.
Leftovers already, huh?
Oh God. Well, shit. There goes my plan. I was like, all right, one last check, I guess. I'm going to, like, I guess with as much deference as I can manage, like walk in, avert my eyes like downwards, and do a little detect evil and see if I can't detect an evil book. I assume that a book that's based on, or like has to do with a cult might be evil.
Okay. And you're doing this in the book you have in your hand first, and then going to use it to if you don't find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I figure that one's clearly magical, clearly evil, probably pings, and then go search around like for whatever book is in this fucking place.
As you turn, you see as Guide has the book in his kind of in his, or another book in his hand, kind of floating out of the room and towards where you guys are kind of standing in the center of the courtyard. As you use Detect Evil, though, on the book you're holding in your hand, you sense evil from it. In fact, a lot of evil coming from it, overwhelmingly so. It, along with, as you look over to see Guide, the book Guide is carrying, as you look at it, looks to be the design of having a ball with a bunch of eyes on it, and seems to be white in coloration with gold inlays on it, in comparison to the one that you're carrying that is almost a tannish with like faces on it.
Shit. Guys, there might be a lot of evil books in there.
Gasp!
Hmm.
Well, you want me to try to buy you some time?
We could possibly just let Guide keep bringing them out. He does not seem to give a shit that Guide is there at all. Like, doesn't even, like...
I mean, that's true. They said that guy was able to just come in here and do his thing.
Is
So
that
what?
or-
Bring us more books from inside the castle.
with my 2 in intelligence, I will go in and out, grabbing every single book in this building.
The
One
first.
by
Give me a D100 roll, Guide, real quick.
Man, I wish we had any form of descriptor of what this book looked like.
I know it would have been a real good question to ask the goddess, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, 27. Alright. As Guide comes out on the first book, seems to be this massive and almost like 1,000-page thick tome that is bound with a a large glowing gemstone in the center of its coverlet. As it does, and Guide kind of drops it at your feet, immediately Ned, Kez, and Eider, you vanish, teleporting yourselves back to the chairs that you'd been sitting in the fine noble old lady's room. Dom's sitting there with a large belt wrapped around their midrim that you immediately recognize as the belt that they're not supposed to be wearing. As
Let's look at that.
Ugbo smiles at you and kind of takes the book from you as she walks over from the. She reappears behind the piano as it starts to play a light, joyous tune. Walks over and takes the book and kind of sets it down on the piano and kind of walks over to you all and goes, "I do appreciate your services this day. I didn't think you'd survive, and I do apologize for having to leave you there, my son. It is not good to get involved with beings of that power when you have my own blessings. As promised, I will gift you what I agreed upon, and when you wake up, you will find yourself back in the situation, fighting with the kobold as if you hadn't died. I think he'll be in for quite a surprise. And dear Ned, I have managed to move your body, though at the shock of your compatriots, to make sure you're there and available for the fight without having to run after it. I hope you don't mind waking up there. But I will give you all this one last note. Guide has said that, or does offer you a single orb of his kindness. You can use it once, and it will guide you to exactly what you seek. As Ugbo, the old lady, kind of walks over and puts it into Eider's hands, and then kind of puts a duplicate one into Kez's hands, and goes, "And for you, Kez, a gift from me. This'll keep you on the true path whenever you have a question. Ask it, and it will answer as if it was me."
Thank you.
And now with that, my young sons, I bless you. When you wake up, you will feel a talisman appear in your pocket. Do not mind the appearance of it. It will be my gift to you. And from me and from Guide, thank you. She kind of nods and bows her head down, teleporting you all four back to your bodies as you start to flutter awake. Ned, you look up and see the ceiling of a room you don't remember falling in, but as you and all of you suddenly begin to awake, Ned, the tree is still in your arms. Dom still has the belt around their midriff. Kez, your armor is back on, thankfully, as well as the orb that you were given is in your pocket, as you realize, as well as same with you, Eider, feeling the orb back in your pocket. You also feel something, Eider, a small dagger that is a normal dagger but has a strange rune on it that you don't recognize. and the rest of you, or all four of you, find the talisman in your pocket almost immediately without issue. As you begin to flutter awake, you see LaGrossa looking down at you with a smile, and going, "I did it! I did!" Oh! And that's where we're going to end session. We thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.